Soon, both parties signed the contract, and Qin Chen also handed over the pill formula, including the method of refining. Aren't you afraid that our pill pavilion will go back on its word after taking the recipe? Xiao Ya asked with a smile that was not a smile. She didn't expect Qin Chen to give it so readily, with almost no precautions. Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, it's just a tier 2 pill formula, it's not a treasure. If your pill pavilion swallows it, you will only suffer in the end. This is not bragging. Qin Chen has too many treasures in his mind. This tier 2 true origin pill formula was something he racked his brains to come up with in order to fit the Great Qi Kingdom. It can be considered the worst of the worst. If he wanted, he could take out 10 or dozens of pill formulas far surpassing this tier 2 true origin pill in minutes. What is a mere tier 2 true origin pill? Lu Guang and the other two were dumbfounded. Such a terrifying tier 2 true origin pill is nothing. Big brother, aren't you exaggerating too much? This is a pill that can subvert the true origin pill market of the Northwest 5 nations. If it spreads out, the alchemist forces of the entire Northwest 5 nations will probably break their heads to get it. Yet you're saying it's not a treasure. Lu Guang and the others felt dizzy. I was just joking. The pill pavilion has always been true to its word. We will never go back on our promises. Xiao Ya just wanted to joke with Qin Chen and test his reaction, but she didn't expect to get such an answer. She could feel that what Qin Chen said was not just to save face, but that he truly had such confidence. What kind of backing does this child have? Xiao Ya couldn't figure it out. In any case, she was also the pavilion master of the Great Qi Kingdom's pill pavilion, the top alchemist in the Great Qi Kingdom. Even some family patriarchs would be cautious and careful when they saw her. He's just a teenager, his confidence is a bit too much. Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, in addition to this true origin pill cooperation, I also want Pavilion Master Xiao Ya to refine a few pills for me. Here are the required medicinal materials. Please prepare them for me. This was the main reason Qin Chen came to the pill pavilion this time, to refine some pills to strengthen his physical body for the blood spirit pool trip. Taking the list, Xiao Ya frowned. The list was full of relatively rare medicinal materials on the market, and the quantity was not small, making them quite valuable. No problem, when do you need them? Xiao Ya agreed without refusing. No matter how precious these materials are, they can be bought for more than 10,000 silver coins. The true origin pill business is so big that more than 10,000 silver coins is not even a fraction of the profit. About 10 days. After you have collected them all, you can send someone to notify me. My address is written on the pill pavilion registration form. After speaking, Qin Chen stood up. Let's stop here for today. I believe Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, you have many things to be busy with next. Xiao Ya didn't try to keep him. As Qin Chen said, she had too many things to be busy with, especially the authenticity of this true origin pill formula. Personally escorting Qin Chen to the entrance of the pill pavilion, Xiao Ya hurriedly returned to the pill pavilion after seeing Qin Chen leave. Chen Mu, Ouyang Cheng, you two immediately prepare all the materials on this pill formula for me, and then send them to my refining room. Lu Guang, you go investigate Qin Chen's origin. He should have a recorded address on the registration form. As long as he is from the Great Qi Kingdom's capital, it will be easy to find out his origin. Xiao Ya shouted sharply, decisive and efficient. Soon, Chen Mu and Ouyang Cheng prepared the materials for the pill formula given by Qin Chen and sent them to Xiao Ya. Having obtained the materials, Xiao Ya entered the refining room as soon as possible and began refining according to the refining method Qin Chen said. Do you think the pill formula given by Qin Chen is real or fake? It's hard to believe that it's twice as effective as the normal true origin pill on the market. However, since the pavilion master thinks it might be real, then she must have her reasons. Let's wait and see. With the pavilion master's alchemy skills, it should be completed in about half an hour. Chen Mu and Ouyang Cheng stood outside the refining room, waiting nervously. A tier 2 pill can usually be refined in about half an hour. By then, they will soon know whether the effect is as Qin Chen said. Boom. Just as the two were discussing and waiting, after only a moment, the door of the refining room suddenly opened, and Xiao Ya walked out. So fast. It should have failed, right? Chen Mu and Ouyang Cheng were stunned, and then anger appeared on their faces. I knew it. How could there be such a true origin pill in this world? The true origin pill is a basic pill. It has been improved for countless years in the Tianwu Continent and has reached an extreme. Even if the effect is only improved a little, it is extremely difficult. It is impossible to improve it by a factor of 2. Pavilion Master, don't be angry. We will immediately catch that kid back. No matter what his origin is, we can't let him get away with fooling our pill pavilion. Chen Mu and Ouyang Cheng looked angry. As they spoke, they were about to rush out. Stop! Xiao Ya shouted loudly, stopping the two, her eyes showing dissatisfaction. Who said I failed? Ha! The two stopped, turned their heads in disbelief, and looked stunned. Pavilion Master, did you succeed in refining it? It's only been less than half an hour, and it's been refined so quickly. How is that possible? The two were almost going crazy. This is a tier 2 pill. How long has it been? Even a tier 1 pill wouldn't be refined so quickly. See for yourselves. With a light toss, 2 full and round pills had fallen into the hands of the two. The rich medicinal fragrance spread, and just by smelling the fragrance of the pills, the true energy in their bodies showed a tendency to increase. They swallowed it in one gulp. The two closed their eyes, and the expressions on their faces became more and more strange, more and more shocked. In the end, their eyeballs almost popped out. This, what a rich amount of true energy, hiss, how can there be such a terrifying true origin pill? The speed of true energy absorption is simply terrifying, much stronger than the true origin pills on the market, and the quality of the true energy is very pure. It's actually real. The two were incoherent, gesticulating, and almost went crazy. Pavilion Master, haven't you started refining yet? At this moment, Lu Guang hurried over. Seeing Xiao Ya, he was stunned for a moment, and then he saw Chen Mu and Ouyang Cheng next to him. He couldn't help but wonder, what's wrong with you two? Why do you look so strange? Did you eat something bad? Master Lu Guang, it's real, the pill formula given by Qin Chen is real. Ouyang Cheng grabbed Lu Guang's shoulders and shook them desperately, his face flushed, and saliva splattered on Lu Guang's face. Ouyang Cheng, let go of me. Lu Guang looked disgusted and hurriedly pushed Ouyang Cheng away. How do you know that the pill formula Qin Chen gave is real? The Pavilion Master has already successfully refined it. So fast. Are you kidding me? Lu Guang was furious. What's wrong with this Ouyang Cheng? I'm his superior, a second-grade alchemist, yet he's joking with me repeatedly. How long have I been gone? Less than half an incense stick, right? The Pavilion Master refined the second-grade true origin pill Qin Chen gave. Lu Guang, I have indeed finished refining. This is the second-grade true origin pill I refined. Take a look. At this moment, Xiao Ya raised her hand, and a true origin pill had already landed in Lu Guang's hand. It's actually real. Looking at the true origin pill in his hand, Lu Guang was dumbfounded. Immediately afterward, Lu Guang, who had taken this true origin pill, also went crazy. The effect of this true origin pill was exactly the same as what Qin Chen had said before, and even exceeded it. Is there really such a magical true origin pill in this world? Despite being prepared, when this true origin pill really appeared in front of him, Lu Guang still couldn't suppress the shock in his heart. Xiao Ya said solemnly, I didn't expect that the refining difficulty of the true origin pill given by Qin Chen would be so low, and the speed would be so fast. According to my estimation, if you were to refine it, you could completely refine a batch in a quarter of an hour. Is this true? Do I need to lie to you? Refining a batch of second-grade true origin pills in a quarter of an hour. Lu Guang fainted and almost fell to the ground. The fastest batch of second-grade pills he had refined before took a full half an hour. Now the Pavilion Master actually said that he could refine such a second-grade true origin pill in a quarter of an hour, which was almost unimaginable. Then Qin Chen's background, have you investigated it? Xiao Ya asked. Lu Guang hurriedly said, Pavilion Master, I have already investigated it. I came here to tell you about this. That Qin Chen is actually the grandson of Prince Dingwu, the champion of this year's year-end exam at Tianxing Academy. Moreover, This child had never awakened his bloodline until recently, when he suddenly awakened and showed terrifying strength, as if he had become a different person. With the status of the Pill Pavilion, it only needs to put its heart into finding it, and it can easily find Qin Chen's information. Lu Guang immediately told Xiao Ya all the information he found about Qin Chen. A good-for-nothing actually transformed himself in just half a month. It seems that the person behind him is really extraordinary. Xiao Ya smiled meaningfully. Lu Guang and the others were stunned. Pavilion Master, what do you mean? Xiao Ya smiled slightly, her beautiful eyes narrowed. You wouldn't think that a young man like him would have such a precious ancient pill formula, would you? Behind him, there must be an extremely powerful person. Are you talking about Prince Dingwu? No. Although Prince Dingwu is strong, he is only limited to the Great Qi Kingdom. The person behind Qin Chen not only solved his problem with his useless bloodline, but also gave him such terrifying alchemy attainments, which the Great Qi Kingdom cannot possess, and even the Northwest Five Nations would find it difficult to find such a person. Xiao Ya's expression was solemn. This person's attainments in alchemy are at least several times stronger than mine. Hiss. Lu Guang and the others couldn't help but gasp. An alchemy expert who is several times stronger than the Pavilion Master, could it be a 4th grade Xuan level alchemist? Or even more terrifying than a 4th grade alchemist? Just thinking about it made Lu Guang and the others feel extremely shocked. Moreover, according to the Pavilion Master, the expert behind Qin Chen might even be from other regions of the continent. It is rumored that the Tianwu Continent is full of experts. Their Northwest Five Nations are just a very remote corner of the continent. They can't even imagine how strong the outsiders are. However, if there really is such an expert, why would he choose Qin Chen? And not someone else? Seeming to understand their thoughts, Xiao Ya suddenly smiled. Are you wondering why such an expert would choose someone like Qin Chen? I didn't understand it at first, but after thinking about it carefully, I understood the reason. Qin Chen's mother, Qin Yuqi, you should have heard of her, right? Is that Qin Yuqi, who rejected the current emperor's decree, left home, and later brought back Qin Chen, who was known as the #1 beauty of our Great Qi Kingdom back then. Lu Guang and the others were stunned. How did this matter have anything to do with Qin Yuqi? Although I haven't met a woman like Qin Yuqi, I also know that this woman must be a woman of great talent to reject the current emperor's decree. Xiao Ya smiled and said, you must know that Emperor Zhao Gao of the Great Qi Kingdom was not mediocre when he was young, but a talented, resourceful person with a handsome appearance, worthy of being called a romantic figure. Qin Yuqi left home to break off the engagement, but gave birth to Qin Chen outside. Do you think the man who could win Qin Yuqi would be an ordinary person? But didn't some people outside say that Qin Yuqi was? At this time, Chen Mu suddenly asked suspiciously. Shut up. Xiao Ya's expression sank, her phoenix eyes sharp. Chen Mu, do you know what you are doing? I don't want to hear such words from you a second time. Yes. Chen Mu was startled, trembling, his forehead covered in cold sweat. Xiao Ya looked at him displeased. Such nonsense is just what some jealous people say, yet you actually believe it. What's more, now that Qin Chen has some cooperation with my Pill Pavilion, after you go back, immediately write a self-criticism and hand it in, and be confined for 10 days, refining 30 batches of first-grade pills before you can be released from confinement. Chen Mu looked sad, wishing he could slap himself twice for being so talkative. Now it's good, he's been confined. Refining 30 batches of first-grade pills in 10 days is simply killing him. However, in front of Xiao Ya, he didn't dare to refute, just nodded and kept admitting his mistake. Lu Guang asked doubtfully, Pavilion Master, I understand what you said, but I have a doubt, that is, since there is such an expert by Qin Chen's side, why would he still need you, Pavilion Master, to collect materials and refine pills for him? Xiao Ya frowned slightly, thoughtfully. This is also what I have been unable to figure out, but we will talk about these things later. After all, this is just my guess. What we need to do next is to put this second-grade true origin pill on the shelves for sale as soon as possible. Also, Lu Guang, the matter of collecting materials will be left to you. No matter how much it costs, you must collect all the materials before the time limit given by Qin Chen. Lu Guang hurriedly nodded. Yes. All right. Go do your work. Looking at the remaining few second-grade true origin pills in front of her, Xiao Ya's eyes flickered. She could already imagine how huge a sensation it would cause in the entire Great Qi Kingdom's pill market when the pill pavilion put such an epoch-making pill on the shelves. The instigator of all this, Qin Chen, was completely unaware of Xiao Ya and the others' speculations, and returned home as quickly as possible. From afar, he saw Qin Yuqi standing at the entrance of the residence. Seeing Qin Chen's figure, a gentle smile immediately bloomed on Qin Yuqi's face. "Chenair, you rascal, you said you were just going out for a bit in the morning, why are you only back so late? If you hadn't returned, your mother was about to ask Vice Commander Zhao Li to go out and look for you. Last night, they were assassinated, and Qin Tian had been missing for an entire day. How could Qin Yuqi not worry? Mother, don't worry. Nothing will happen in the royal capital, unless that Qin Yuanhong doesn't want to live anymore," Qin Chen said with a smile. "You still need to be careful," Qin Yuqi said, touching Qin Chen's face with a gentle expression, then coldly snorted. "Qin Yuanhong actually sent people to attack us, mother and son, so ruthlessly. Chenair, I've already written a letter to your grandfather to inform him. Mother will never let this matter rest." Walking into the courtyard, a group of city guards were repairing the house. The house damaged last night had been completely repaired and cleaned after a day, and almost no trace of damage could be seen. "Miss Qin, young Master Chen, please wait a moment, it's just a little bit more, and the residence will be completely restored," Zhao Li said with a smile as he walked over. "Vice Commander Zhao, thank you," Qin Yuqi said gratefully. "Miss Qin, you're too kind. This is my duty. However, King Kang asked me to convey a message to the two of you. If possible, it would be best for you to move near the Kang Royal Mansion in the Eastern District, as it is safer there." Involving the Dingwu Royal Mansion, Zhao Li wasn't very confident either. At least last night, he almost failed to capture the Qin Yong. If Qin Chen hadn't intervened at the last moment, he might have been defeated, and the consequences would have been unimaginable. "Thank you for King Kang's kindness, but it's not necessary," Qin Yuqi shook her head. "Very well, if Miss Qin has any needs, please feel free to ask," Zhao Li didn't insist. "Commander Zhao, please come over later after you're done," Qin Chen suddenly said at this moment. Although Zhao Li didn't know what Qin Chen wanted to do, he still agreed. A moment later, the entire house was repaired, and a large number of city guards left the residence. "Young Master Chen, do you need me for something?" Zhao Li asked respectfully as he entered Qin Chen's room. Although he was the vice commander of the city guards, he also knew that the recent storms in the royal capital were all caused by this young man. In addition, Qin Chen's strength yesterday made him dare not underestimate him at all. "Do you remember what I told you last night?" Qin Chen smiled slightly. "You mean the matter of my meridians?" Hearing this, Zhao Li instantly became excited, his face flushed with excitement. Last night, Qin Chen pointed out that his meridians were damaged and said that he would take the time to fix them for him, but he didn't tell him the specific time. All day today, he had been muddle-headed, not knowing how to bring it up. He didn't expect Qin Chen to bring it up himself. "That's right. I will naturally do what I promised you. Sit here first and let me carefully examine your meridians to see how to treat them," Qin Chen said. Yes. Zhao Li didn't know where to put his hands, letting Qin Chen arrange things, and sat foolishly in the chair. With a sweep of his mental power, Qin Chen's perception carefully scanned Zhao Li's body. "Young Master Chen, how is it?" After a moment, Zhao Li asked nervously. "It's not a big problem, it's just that you've been trying to break through to the heaven realm for 5 years, so there will be some trouble more or less," Qin Chen said. Is there still hope? Zhao Li couldn't help but feel a sinking feeling in his heart. His injury had happened 5 years ago. During this period, he had sought out many alchemists and bloodline masters in the royal capital, but none of them could solve his body's problem. Many people couldn't even find the problem. And in these 5 years, he had cultivated hard every day, but his cultivation had not improved at all, and he had almost given up hope. Now that he finally saw a glimmer of hope, how could he not look forward to it? Of course there's hope. Although it's a bit troublesome, it's not a big problem, Qin Chen said. Qin Chen took out a jade box from his body. When the jade box was opened, there were slender golden needles about a foot long placed inside. He had bought these casually when he was outside today. Sit down properly, I'm going to treat your injuries now, Qin Chen said. Treat now. Unexpectedly, so soon. After a moment of stunned, Zhao Li quickly said, Young Master Chen, I just fought yesterday, and I suffered a little injury on my body. I haven't recovered yet, and I've been busy all day today, so my condition is not very good. Moreover, it's already so late, so is it possible to change the time, and I'll come over when young Master Chen is free. No need, it's something that can be done in minutes. No need to be so troublesome, and treating meridians has nothing to do with the injuries on your body, Qin Chen shook his head. Something that can be done in minutes. Zhao Li was startled and dumbfounded, staring at Qin Chen in disbelief. He had thought of so many ways and looked for so many people for the injuries on his body for so many years, but none of them could solve it. Now it's good. He actually said that it could be solved in minutes. This, haven't I heard it wrong? At this moment, Zhao Li even suspected that Qin Chen was lying to him. What? Don't you want to be treated? Or don't you believe me? Seeing Zhao Li in a daze, Qin Chen frowned. No. How could I not believe you, young Master Chen? Zhao Li gritted his teeth. It was not easy to see a glimmer of hope. How could he give up if he wanted to give up? At worst, the treatment would fail. What could be worse than now? As a martial artist, his cultivation will never be able to improve in his lifetime, and he can only stay at the peak of the earth level, and even his cultivation is constantly regressing. Zhao Li didn't want to suffer this kind of pain anymore. Young Master Chen, please do it, Zhao Li gritted his teeth, saying as he began to take off his armor and clothes. Commander Zhao, what are you doing? Seeing Zhao Li quickly taking off his top, revealing a hairy chest, Qin Chen couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Aren't you going to use golden needles to stimulate acupuncture points for treatment, young Master Chen? How can you prick me if I don't take off my clothes? Zhao Li said in confusion as he began to take off his pants. Cough cough. Qin Chen's forehead was covered with black lines. Commander Zhao, I'm using flying needles to stimulate acupuncture points. You don't need to take off your clothes. You didn't say so earlier. I took off my pants, and you told me it was flying needles. Qin Chen. Pay attention. Qin Chen no longer said anything. His eyes narrowed, his index finger and thumb gently pinched, picked up a golden needle, and without even looking, directly flicked his finger. Call out. With a flash of golden light, in the sound of breaking through the air, Zhao Li only felt a slight numbness in his chest, and a golden needle had already pierced into his chest. Before he could react, whoosh whoosh whoosh, a large number of air-piercing sounds rang out simultaneously, and Zhao Li's entire body went numb at the same time. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen golden needles had been inserted into his body, all on his important acupoints. Closing the jade box, Qin Chen stretched and yawned. Okay. Zhao Li was stunned. So fast. It's only been a few seconds. Is he kidding me? Young Master Chen, what else do we need to do next? Zhao Li asked blankly. No need to do anything, just wait, Qin Chen said. Wait. Zhao Li felt like he was about to faint. More than a dozen golden needles were stuck in his body, and that's it. Nothing else to do. Big brother, this is a 5-year-old stubborn ailment. So many alchemists in the royal capital couldn't cure it, but you just stuck a few golden needles in and said it's over. That's too much. Not to mention that your treatment only took a few seconds. The key is that my meridians are damaged. How can you solve the problem by randomly sticking a few acupoints? For a moment, Zhao Li was about to cry. Forget it. It seems I was just wishful thinking. Come to think of it, even if young Master Chen is awesome, he's just a teenager. What kind of illness can he cure? I'm just too stupid and naive. Young Master Chen, thank you for your help. I'll take my leave first, Zhao Li said. With a look of disappointment, Zhao Li was about to pull out the golden needles from his body and bid farewell, when he discovered that his body was completely unable to move. The acupoints pierced by the dozen or so golden needles were constantly going numb, and he couldn't muster any strength at all. Oh no, what's happening to my body? What's happening to my body? He tried his best to pull out the golden needles, but he couldn't even lift his arm. He was so frightened that his soul almost left his body. What shocked him even more was that after the numbness, the true energy in his body became uncontrollably violent. A large amount of true energy was rampaging through his meridians, and that violent power was about to break his meridians, causing bursts of severe pain. Young Master Chen, quickly pull out the golden needles from my body. Zhao Li said these words almost through gritted teeth, his forehead covered in cold sweat. He couldn't even move now, so he could only ask Qin Chen. Pull 'em out. Qin Chen looked at Zhao Li in surprise, his brow furrowing slightly. What are you doing? The true energy in your body is so violent, if it continues like this, it will easily rupture your meridians and turn you into a cripple. Zhao Li almost spat out a mouthful of old blood, and he felt like cursing. What am I doing? You're asking me why my true energy is so violent. Damn it, isn't this all you're doing? You filled my body with golden needles, making me unable to move and causing the true energy in my body to become violent. Would I be like this now? Zhao Li was in tears. How could he have encountered such a scammer? I've already used golden needles to lock down some of the most important acupoints on your body, and actively activated your true energy. You only need to guide the true energy in your body to impact along the lines I've locked down, and you can solve the previous problems on your body. But if you just wait foolishly like this, once the true energy tears your meridians, then the problem will be serious. You deliberately induced the true energy in my body. Hearing this, Zhao Li looked stunned and dumbfounded. Otherwise, what did you think? At this time, Zhao Li was completely speechless. He hurriedly guided the violent true energy in his body to impact fiercely along the acupoints where the golden needles were located. Boom! With this guidance, a large amount of true energy instantly roared and surged wildly in his meridians, easily and almost without any obstruction. At the same time, under his control, the powerful true energy not only did not cause any swelling in the meridians it passed through, but instead brought bursts of numb sensations. In just a moment, all the true energy in Zhao Li's body was instantly activated, gathering together to form an unprecedented force. How terrifying was Zhao Li's accumulation over the past 5 years. Under the fusion of these accumulated true energies, the power in his body instantly exploded, circulating throughout his body in less than a dozen breaths. Rumble. The power of the late-stage peak of the Earth realm instantly climbed to the extreme, and a more powerful force spread throughout his body, as if some kind of shackles in his body were broken at once. Between heaven and earth, a large amount of pure heaven and earth true energy enveloped Zhao Li, causing the power on his body to rise steadily. Huff. I don't know how long it took, but this kind of change stopped. PFFT. The golden needles originally inserted into Zhao Li's body instantly shattered, turning into nothingness and dissipating into the air. I actually broke through to the heaven realm, and reached the peak of the early stage of the heaven realm. Standing up, feeling the surging true energy in his body, Zhao Li looked dazed, so shocked that he was almost stupid. His hands trembled, his eyes were excited, and tears lingered in his eyes. He stuttered for a long time without saying a word. He originally thought that Qin Chen could cure the injuries on his body, which was already extremely amazing. He never expected that he would break through in one breath, directly reaching the heaven realm, and still at the peak of the early stage of the heaven realm. Not easy, really not easy. He had waited a full 5 years to wait for this day, and originally thought he would never reach it in his life, but he never expected to achieve it in one fell swoop today. And only half an hour had passed. How exactly did young Master Chen do it? Zhao Li was completely dizzy, and he still felt like he was dreaming. Alright, the stubborn ailment on your body has been removed by me, and in the past 5 years, you have been constantly cultivating. Some true energy has not actually dissipated, but has accumulated in your body, which is why you were able to break through to the heaven realm in one fell swoop and reach the peak of the early stage. Next, you only need to consolidate it properly, Qin Chen explained from the side, ignoring Zhao Li's shock. Yes, thank you, young Master Chen. Zhao Li finally recovered from his shock. Filled with gratitude to Qin Chen, he knelt on the ground with a thud. Young Master Chen, you are my benefactor. From now on, if young Master Chen has any instructions, just speak up. If I, Zhao Li, have the slightest hesitation, may I be struck by lightning and die. Commander Zhao, what are you doing? Qin Chen frowned. I'm just repaying you for your help yesterday. If Zhao Li hadn't helped yesterday, he and his mother would have been in danger. Qin Chen had a clear sense of gratitude and resentment, so naturally he wouldn't owe others. No, young Master Chen, you don't understand. Zhao Li shook his head heavily, his tone firm. Once, he was the most outstanding genius of the royal capital city guard, and a large number of eyes gathered around him. There were even rumors that he would be transferred to the Imperial Palace Guard to serve as a commander, which could be said to be an unlimited future. At that time, Zhao Li was elated and didn't know how to restrain himself, and he had inadvertently offended many people. But 5 years ago, after he failed to break through to the heaven realm, he instantly fell from the peak to the bottom. From then on, the flattering voices disappeared, and the admiring gazes vanished. He was transferred from a lucrative position to the most barren West District, serving as a deputy commander with little power. In the past 5 years, Zhao Li had suffered too many cold shoulders and witnessed too much of the fickleness of human relationships. The only reason he obeyed King Kang's orders was because King Kang had helped him once when he was in the West District, and he had never forgotten it. Originally, he thought his life would be like this. But he never expected that he would have a day to break through to the heaven realm. For a moment, Zhao Li was in tears, his heart filled with bitterness. This feeling is definitely something ordinary people can never understand. Young Master Chen is so young, yet he can heal the injuries on my body. His future achievements will definitely be limitless. I, Zhao Li, must follow young Master Chen closely. He secretly made up his mind. What you need to do now is to consolidate your cultivation. Also, although you have reached the peak of the early stage of the heaven realm, don't be too ambitious and eager to break through to the middle stage of the heaven realm in a short period of time. The reason you were injured 5 years ago was because you were too impatient, which led to damage to your heart and lungs, and problems with your meridians. Heaven realm, the so-called heaven realm represents the unity of man and nature. Both your state of mind and true energy must reach the same level at the same time. If you are too impatient, it will not be a good thing. Seeing that he couldn't dissuade Zhao Li, Qin Chen didn't try to persuade him anymore, but just instructed him. Yes, young Master Chen, I will definitely consolidate my cultivation and not rush to break through. However, how long is the short period of time that young Master Chen mentioned? 3 years, or 5 years? Zhao Li now obeyed Qin Chen's every word and was determined to ask for clarification. Qin Chen was stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why does it need to be so long? The short period of time I'm talking about is just recently. Based on your situation, don't even think about breaking through for the time being within 3 months. After 3 months, you can do whatever you want. 3 months. Zhao Li simply suspected that he had heard wrong, and muttered, 3 months is enough. What did you think? Qin Chen said speechlessly, how long is a martial artist's life in total? And you are not young anymore. Not breaking through for 3 months is already considered a delay in cultivation. Hearing this, Zhao Li couldn't help but burst into tears, so excited that he almost went crazy. Not breaking through for 3 months is called a delay in cultivation, then what is it called that he couldn't break through for 5 years before? After thanking Qin Chen profusely, Zhao Li couldn't wait to leave Qin Chen's room, eager to share the good news with his wife. After Zhao Li left, Qin Chen quickly calmed down and began to cultivate. He had been busy all day and hadn't cultivated. A strong sense of urgency arose in Qin Chen's heart. Fortunately, he had finished dealing with all the matters today and was just waiting for the pill pavilion to notify him that the medicinal materials were ready. In the next few days, Qin Chen secluded himself at home and painstakingly cultivated the berserk battle martial skill. In the blink of an eye, a week had passed. During this week, Qin Chen didn't leave his house, not even taking a single step outside. He even left the confrontation between Dean Chu Weiken, King Kang, and the Qin family behind him. He focused on cultivating the berserk battle martial skill. What Qin Chen didn't expect was that, under the stimulation of the 9-star Divine Emperor art, the berserk battle martial skill, which he thought would take half a month to break through, broke through to the second level in a week. Qin Chen's physical strength also officially approached 30 horsepowers. If the news that a peak human realm martial artist had 30 horsepowers spread out, it would probably shock the entire Darky Kingdom. During this week, because of Qin Chen's assassination, Chu Weiqan and Qin Yuanhong had experienced several confrontations in the court, but there were no results. Qin Yuanhong placed all the responsibility on Qin Yong, stating that Qin Yong had dealt with Qin Chen privately and it was not the Qin family's intention. Because there was no evidence, and Qin Yuanhong's status was noble, the current emperor had not made a decision. While the two sides were in a stalemate, a piece of news came out. Qin Feng, the eldest son of the Qin family, had been summoned by the Darky Kingdom's royal family and had set off from the frontier to return to the capital to participate in this blood spirit pool journey. He would return to the royal capital soon. As soon as this news came out, the entire royal capital was in an uproar. What is wrong with His Majesty? Qin Chen, as the first place in this year's Heavenly Star Academy's year-end examination, has already obtained the opportunity to enter the blood spirit pool. Why has Qin Feng been given another spot now? In this way, the Qin family has exclusively obtained 2 of the 8 blood spirit pool spots, which is simply heaven-defying. Moreover, at this critical moment, His Majesty, he is. At the same time, some rumors about Qin Feng spread in the royal capital. Rumor has it that Qin Feng recently broke through tens of thousands of Great Wei Iron cavalry on the border, establishing illustrious military achievements. There are also rumors that when Qin Feng returns this time, His Majesty will grant him the position of general. There are even rumors that Qin Feng's wings have become full outside, and he and King Dingwu, Qin Baishan, control most of the Darky Kingdom's army. His Majesty is wary of this, so he forcibly summoned him. Among them, there are also voices speaking for Qin Feng. Some people said, His Majesty is doing this for the sake of the empire. When Qin Feng joined the army 5 years ago, he was already an Earthrealm expert. Now that 5 years have passed, having experienced his military career, he has become a leader among the younger generation of the Darky Kingdom. As long as he can represent the Darky Kingdom in the battle and experience the blood spirit pool baptism, the Darky Kingdom will definitely rise in this year's 5 Nations Grand Competition. Various rumors abounded and spread. Qin Feng, huh? Hearing the news, the corners of Qin Chen's mouth also curled up in a sneer. It seems that Zhao Feng couldn't bear it anymore and hurriedly summoned Qin Feng back, wanting to attack me during the blood spirit pool journey. Qin Chen sneered, not taking it to heart at all. No matter how talented Qin Feng is, in Qin Chen's eyes, he is just an ordinary person from the remote land of the Darky Kingdom. Now he has so many things to deal with, how can he have the time to put his mind on a little brat? Under such an atmosphere, 2 days later, Qin Feng's team finally returned to the royal capital. The mighty Iron Cavalry entered the royal capital, causing a major sensation. On this day, the entire city was empty, and everyone wanted to see how far this former number 1 genius of the royal capital had grown. In front of the Iron Cavalry team, a handsome young man of about 20 years old came into everyone's view, eliciting bursts of praise. It has to be said that after 5 years of iron-blooded life, Qin Feng's body showed no trace of the wealth of a noble son. All he had was a strong iron-blooded aura that soared into the clouds, shocking the world. Didn't my good brother come to welcome me? Qin Feng's first sentence upon entering the city was this, causing a commotion among the crowd. HMPH. I heard that he has caused some trouble in the royal capital and even injured Fendi. As the eldest brother, I can't wait to clean up the house and teach him what etiquette a member of the Qin family should have. He said proudly, his eyes looking down, disdainful. Everyone was shocked. Qin Feng challenged Qin Chen as soon as he came. Was he going to have a sibling rivalry? I heard he's living in the West District now. It's a place for the poor, very dirty and filthy. But considering his status, it's a very suitable place for him to live. Escorted to the palace by the imperial envoy, Qin Feng continued to speak, mocking Qin Chen as much as possible. Everyone was stunned and shocked. Such strong hostility, even an idiot could see it. The Qin family, such a large family, powerful and respected in the great Qi kingdom, never expected trouble from within. Fratricide is shocking. Some people also suspected that Qin Feng, who had been stationed outside for many years, fighting alongside Old Master Qin Beishan, was perhaps representing Old Master Qin's intentions with his words. If that's true, wouldn't that mean Old Master Qin is also dissatisfied with his illegitimate grandson, Qin Chen? When I return from seeing His Majesty, I will personally meet this younger brother Chen. I haven't seen him for years. Where did he get the guts to act like this, even daring to injure his second brother? Does he want to be removed from the family? Qin Feng spoke proudly, repeatedly expressing an attitude. Everyone was shaken, knowing that the royal capital would face a storm. Hey, Qin Chen is going to be in trouble. He crippled Qin Fen. As Qin Fen's older brother, Qin Feng won't ignore it. Qin Feng was once known as the #1 genius of the royal capital. He broke through to the Earth realm at the age of 14, unparalleled in the world. If he makes a move, apart from a few monstrous figures like the fourth prince, no one of the same age can match him. No matter how strong Qin Chen is, he is no match for Qin Feng in a few moves. The difference is too great. The two are not on the same level at all. Wei Zhen and the others sneered, eager for Qin Chen to be taught a lesson by Qin Feng. It's just a few years older, what's so great about it? Young Master Chen won't be afraid of him. Lin Qian and Zhang Ying were indignant and very angry. But they were quickly drowned out. When foreign soldiers and generals returned to the royal capital, they must first report to the Ministry of War. Qin Feng's status was special, and he was specially summoned by Emperor Zhao Gao of the Great Qi Kingdom. In the main hall, Qin Feng no longer spoke rashly, but was respectful, reporting on the border affairs of these years. Zhao Gao was in high spirits and smiled. Qin Feng, you have been outside these years, making great contributions to my Great Qi Kingdom. Not long ago, you defeated tens of thousands of Wei iron cavalry, causing the Wei soldiers to retreat more than 300 miles and hide in the Yin Mountains. Tell me, what reward do you want? Qin Feng knelt on one knee, his head lowered. Your Majesty, it is the duty of any citizen to shed blood and sweat for my Great Qi Kingdom. This subject has only done what an ordinary citizen of the Great Qi Kingdom should do, so why should I need a reward? Ha ha. Zhao Gao was overjoyed and smiled. Qin Feng, although that's true, I have clear rewards and punishments. You have made great achievements on the border. If I don't reward you, how can I convince the public? After pondering for a moment, Zhao Gao suddenly said, Qin Feng, do you know the purpose of summoning you back from the border this time? Qin Feng said, could it be because of the Five Nations tournament? Zhao Gao said, it is because of the Five Nations tournament. In recent years, the Great Wei Kingdom has been eyeing us covetously, frequently sending troops to attack my Great Qi Kingdom. Their ambition is obvious. This Five Nations tournament is an opportunity to teach them a lesson. I heard that you have been diligently practicing martial arts on the border, winning the championship in the army. This time, summoning you back is for the Blood Spirit Pool baptism soon, and then to participate in the Five Nations tournament, to win glory for my Great Qi Kingdom. Do you have confidence? Qin Feng said with confidence, Your Majesty, I am confident that I will win first place for the Great Qi Kingdom in the Five Nations tournament. Good. Zhao Gao slapped the dragon chair and said, if you can really win first place, I can give you a guarantee. When you return, I will grant you the title of Champion Marquis. How about that? Hua. As soon as this was said, the entire court was in an uproar. Champion Marquis, it's actually Champion Marquis. In the Great Qi Kingdom, there are many marquises, but in terms of rank, Champion Marquis is definitely a very special one. Historically, only young generals who have made great contributions and outstanding achievements for the Great Qi Kingdom will be granted the title of Champion Marquis. Once this honor is obtained, it means that one can enter the palace with a sword, which is a great honor, with high position and great power. And now, Qin Feng is only a captain, not even a general. His Majesty's promise of the title of Champion Marquis immediately caused an uproar in the entire court. This is simply too exaggerated. You must know that Qin Feng is only 20 years old this year. If he is really granted the title of Champion Marquis, he will not only be the youngest Champion Marquis in the history of the Great Qi Kingdom, but also the first person in the history of the Great Qi Kingdom to be ennobled at the age of 20. At that time, the Qin family will have a martial king and 2 marquises, truly high position and great power, causing a sensation in the Great Qi Kingdom. Your Majesty, isn't this a bit hasty? Yes, Your Majesty. The title of Champion Marquis is extraordinary, shouldn't we consider it carefully? A group of civil officials were alarmed and hurried forward to advise. Now, Dingwu King's merits are already so great that he overshadows the emperor. Hasn't His Majesty been weakening the Qin family's power all along? Why did he suddenly make such a promise, making everyone confused? Enough. My mind is made up. Zhao Gao waved his hand, stopping everyone's advice. Your Majesty. Qin Feng was excited and said loudly, "Thank you, Your Majesty. This subject will definitely do my best to win glory for the Great Qi Kingdom and win first place in the 5 Nations tournament." With a gleam in his eyes, Qin Feng secretly made up his mind. Good. Then I will await your good news. Qin Feng, you have been fighting outside for a long time, and haven't been home for many years. I won't keep you any longer. Go home and visit your parents early. Yes, Your Majesty. This subject has one more thing. What is it? Qin Feng raised his head and said respectfully, on the way back to the capital, this subject heard that my younger brother Qin Chen won first place in the Heavenly Star Academy's year-end exam and obtained the qualification to enter the Blood Spirit Pool. This subject believes that this matter is absolutely inappropriate. In order to win first place in the year-end exam, this child injured his fellow clansman Qin Fen, crippling him. How can such an ungrateful person be qualified to enter the Blood Spirit Pool and represent my Great Qi Kingdom in the 5 Nations tournament? Therefore, this subject humbly requests Your Majesty to withdraw Qin Chen's opportunity to enter the Blood Spirit Pool. As soon as this was said, the court was in an uproar again. What is Qin Feng doing? He actually asked His Majesty to withdraw Qin Chen's Blood Spirit Pool qualification in the court. Isn't that too exaggerated? Everyone looked at Zhao Gao, waiting for his answer. Qin Chen's winning first place in the Heavenly Star Academy's year-end exam and participating in the Blood Spirit Pool baptism was promised by me. What is said in gold and jade, I will not regret it since I have already agreed. Just like the Champion Marquis I promised you, this matter, there is no need to mention it again in the future. Zhao Gao waved his hand. In the court, everyone was puzzled. They originally thought that His Majesty wanted to stand on the side of Chu Weikan and Prince Kang, to uphold justice for Qin Chen, in order to eliminate the Qin family's influence and weaken Dingwu King's power. But the promise of the Champion Marquis made everyone confused again. Now, His Majesty is defending Qin Chen again, making everyone unable to understand Zhao Gao's true intentions. The audience was quick. Before long, Qin Feng left the palace and set off back to the Qin family. The events that occurred in the court quickly spread throughout the entire royal capital like a gust of wind, causing an uproar. In particular, Zhao Gao's promise to make Qin Feng the Champion Marquis caused a huge shock. A young man being granted a marquisate, this was such glory that it was impossible not to be shocked. Qin Feng's impeachment of Qin Chen, wanting Zhao Gao to cancel Qin Chen's Blood Spirit Pool baptism qualification, also triggered various discussions. What is Qin Feng? He dares to impeach young Master Chen. HMPH. He wants to be the Champion Marquis. He should take a piss and look at his own virtue. He's not worthy. Lin Tian and Zhang Ying were extremely angry, constantly cursing and wishing they could barge in. Li Qingfeng, Wei Zhen, and others, who had been waiting to see the Qin family's joke, were also dumbfounded and furious. If Qin Feng were truly granted the title of Champion Marquis, the entire power structure of the Great Qi dynasty would change. At that time, Qin Feng and Qin Yuanhong, a family with 2 marquises, would be enough to stir up a huge storm in the court. Almost instantly, the entire royal capital was discussing this matter, causing an uproar. Some sneered, some mocked, and some worried. Kang Prince Mansion. Zhao Jing put down his wolf milliliter brush and looked towards the palace with a worried expression, sighing, "Brother, why do you have to do this?" Dingwu Prince Mansion. Everywhere was decorated with lanterns and colored banners, lively and extraordinary. When Qin Feng's convoy arrived outside the Qin mansion, the Qin family servants cheered loudly, full of joy. Look! It's young Master Feng. Young Master Feng is the eldest son of our Qin family and will inherit the position of Qin family head sooner or later. Have you heard? His Majesty promised young Master Feng that as long as he wins first place for the Great Qi dynasty in the Five Nations tournament, he will be granted the title of Champion Marquis. That's the Champion Marquis. If that's the case, young Master Feng's prestige in the court might even surpass the Master's. Shush! You must never say that. A group of servants looked excitedly at Qin Feng, who was sitting cross-legged on a tall blue horse at the front of the convoy, all extremely excited. The maids' eyes were shining, and their faces were flushed. Feng Er greets father, mother. Dismounting, Qin Feng knelt on one knee in front of Qin Yuanhong and Zhao Feng, respectfully paying his respects. Feng Er, quickly get up. You're finally back. Zhao Feng helped Qin Feng up, her phoenix eyes gleaming, extremely excited. After waiting for so long, she finally waited for Qin Feng to return. The heart she had been holding all these days finally calmed down. As a returning traveler, Qin Feng's first task upon returning home was to worship the ancestors in the ancestral hall, and then pay respects to the elders and seniors of the family in the main hall. These elders had already heard the rumors and were so happy that they couldn't close their mouths. Before Qin Feng could even salute, they hurriedly stood up and helped him up. Just kidding. If Qin Feng could truly be granted the title of Champion Marquis after the Five Nations tournament, I'm afraid that they would have to rely on Qin Feng's prestige in the future. How dare they be too arrogant now? Faced with the attitude of the elders, Qin Feng did not express anything and accepted it very naturally. Afterwards, he came to Qin Yuanzi's side and cupped his hands lightly, saying, Qin Feng greets second uncle. Qin Ying, seeing that Qin Feng was not very respectful to her father, was immediately dissatisfied and muttered, this guy hasn't even become the Champion Marquis yet, what's he showing off for? Feng Er, you don't need to be so polite. Qin Yuanzi didn't care about these formalities. Qin Feng took the opportunity to withdraw his salute and looked at Qin Ying, who was beside him, and suddenly said, I heard that Yingmei is very close to Qin Chen. Qin Chen injured my second brother and betrayed the Qin family. He is a sinner of our Qin family. I hope Yingmei will interact with him less in the future, so as not to tarnish the reputation of our Qin family. Qin Ying raised an eyebrow and said angrily, Qin Feng, what do you mean? Qin Yuanzi frowned and said, Feng Er, you are wrong. No matter what, Qin Chen is still a member of our Qin family. As a disciple of the Qin family, how can you say that about him? Second uncle. Qin Feng smiled, his smile very indifferent. Qin Chen has already taken the initiative to leave our Qin family, so how can he be considered a member of our Qin family? Moreover, he severely injured Qin Fen, which means he is an enemy of our Qin family. Second uncle, you are also an elder of our Qin family, how can you be unable to distinguish right from wrong and speak for an outsider? After speaking, without waiting for Qin Yuanzi to say anything, Qin Feng directly said to Zhao Feng, Mother, I want to go see my second brother. The group immediately left. This guy. Qin Ying's face was full of anger, and she gritted her teeth. Qin Yuanzi's expression was also very unsightly. In the courtyard where Zhao Feng lived. Big brother, you must avenge me. Qin Fen was wrapped in bandages. When he saw Qin Feng, he immediately cried excitedly. Seeing Qin Fen, who had no true qi fluctuations and was almost a cripple, Qin Feng's eyes became even colder, and he said in a cold voice, Second brother, don't worry, I will never spare that kid. I will definitely avenge you. His hands clenched, making cracking sounds, and his whole body bloomed with monstrous fighting intent. His terrifying aura was like a fierce tiger, roaring and roaring in the room. Feng Er, have you already entered the peak of the Earth realm? Zhao Feng said with an excited expression. Qin Feng smiled slightly and restrained his aura. Mother, I broke through to the peak of the Earth realm more than a year ago. Hiss. Qin Fen took a breath of cold air, his face full of horror, and his eyes were about to pop out. Big brother, you're only 20 years old. His mind was dizzy, and he couldn't believe his ears. Big brother is already at the peak of the Earth realm at the age of 20. His future achievements are simply limitless. Feng Er, You have to be careful. That Qin Yuqi and her son are not that simple. Zhao Feng said with a gloomy expression. Qin Yong's cultivation was also at the peak of the Earth realm, but he was killed on the spot in an assassination. Although the city guards helped, it must be related to that Qin Yuqi and her son. Qin Feng showed a disdainful expression and said confidently, Mother, don't worry, although my cultivation is at the peak of the Earth realm, my true strength is definitely not that simple. Mother, you may not know, but if it weren't for accepting the blood spirit pool baptism, I would have been able to break through to the heaven realm half a year ago. On the battlefield, the heaven realm generals killed by me are not just one. Qin Feng looked arrogant. Qin Fen took a breath of cold air and was about to faint. With the cultivation of the peak of the Earth realm, killing heaven realm generals, God, what level has Big Brother's strength reached? Under the shock, the excitement in his heart became more and more intense, and he couldn't help laughing loudly. Ha ha, Qin Chen is bound to die this time. Big Brother, you must teach him a good lesson and never let him die so easily. Zhao Feng also looked shocked and smiled sinisterly. That's good, Mother is relieved. It's just a waste, killing him is just a matter of grasping. Qin Feng smiled, completely not taking Qin Chen to heart. My goal is to be the first in this 5 nations tournament. A fighting intent rose from him and lingered for a long time. Qin Fen said excitedly, Big Brother, what are you going to do? A cold glint flashed in Qin Feng's eyes, and he sneered, naturally, I will challenge him. If he dares to accept, I will cripple him before he goes to the blood spirit pool, and deprive him of the opportunity to enter the blood spirit pool. A moment later, a message spread from the Qin mansion. Qin Feng declared that in 3 days, he would challenge Qin Chen on the life and death stage. If Qin Chen had the guts, he should come and fight. As soon as this news came out, it instantly shook the entire Great Qi Kingdom. What does Qin Feng want to do? This is the life and death stage, where life and death are determined by fate. Does he want to kill Qin Chen? No matter what, Qin Chen is just a human-level expert. Although he is the champion of this year's year-end exam, he is far behind Qin Feng. If he dares to go on stage, he will surely die. The crowd was in an uproar, unable to believe it. The life and death stage is a famous challenge arena in the Great Qi Kingdom's capital. Any martial artist who goes on stage must sign a life and death contract. Countless martial artists die on the life and death stage in the capital every year. If Qin Chen really accepts the challenge, the outcome will inevitably be a never-ending battle. Qin Feng, that guy, is simply too despicable. He actually challenged young Master Chen. He should look at his own age. He's so much older than young Master Chen. How can he be so shameless? Lin Tian and Zhang Ying were shocked and angry. Not only them, but other youths in the capital also had the same thoughts. In terms of age, Qin Feng was 5 years older than Qin Chen. Moreover, Qin Feng had already broken through to the Earth level 5 years ago, while Qin Chen was only at the human level during the year-end exam. The two were simply not on the same level. If you all think it's unfair, I can let him use both hands and fight. Immediately, Qin Feng once again transmitted his words from afar. If he still doesn't agree, I can only say that the year-end exam champion is just a cowardly good-for-nothing. In 3 days, I, Qin Feng, will be waiting for him on the life and death stage to see if the genius youth in everyone's eyes is really a genius, or just a useless coward. Let him use both hands. Everyone was shocked, which meant that Qin Feng could fight Qin Chen without using his hands. A martial artist's cultivation is generally in their hands. Once he doesn't use his hands, it can be said that Qin Feng will lose at least 80% to 90% of his combat power. Using 10% to 20% of his strength to fight Qin Chen, Qin Feng's challenge does seem quite sincere. Qin Chen is the champion of this year's year-end exam. He shouldn't refuse such a challenge, right? The other party is already shouting at his face. As long as he is a man, he will not ignore it. If it were me, I would never allow my dignity to be damaged, even if it meant death. Voices came from the corners of the capital, attracting everyone's attention. They were all released by Wei Zhen and others. They sneered repeatedly, wishing that Qin Chen would accept the challenge and be killed by Qin Feng to vent their hatred. What if young Master Chen accepts the challenge? What should we do? Yes. With young Master Chen's personality, he might get impulsive and agree. Lin Tian and Zhang Ying, who received the news, were worried and very nervous. No. We must stop young Master Chen. A gentleman takes revenge. 10 years is not too late. Anxious, Lin Tian and Zhang Ying came to Qin Chen's house as soon as possible and knocked on Qin Chen's door. Young Master Chen, you must not accept Qin Feng's challenge. I heard from a friend who saw Qin Feng at the capital's city gate that the true energy on Qin Feng's body is condensed and does not dissipate. He is at least a peak Earth level expert. Yes. Even if he doesn't use his hands, with his cultivation, he can easily kill an early stage Earth level expert. He said that just to lure you to agree. As soon as they entered the door, Lin Tian and Zhang Ying said nervously, with anxious expressions on their faces. What are you two talking about? Qin Chen looked at the two of them with a puzzled expression. Ah, the two were stunned. We are talking about Qin Feng. Qin Feng. What happened to Qin Feng? Qin Chen frowned. He had been in seclusion these days. Although he knew that Qin Feng had returned, he didn't take it to heart. Could it be that he did something? Young Master Chen, don't you know? Lin Tian and Zhang Ying widened their eyes. The two of them were so worried, but who knew that Qin Chen didn't take it to heart at all, which made the two of them very hurt. After learning that Qin Feng had declared that he wanted to challenge him, Qin Chen immediately waved his hand speechlessly. I thought it was something. If he wants to challenge, let him challenge. I don't have time to play house with him. He was so busy now, how could he have time to play challenge with Qin Feng? Lin Tian and Zhang Ying looked at each other, speechless, and smiled bitterly, feeling that they had thought too much. Immediately, the two thought that if Qin Feng knew that young Master Chen didn't take his challenge seriously, he would probably be depressed and want to cry. Since then, the two completely let go of their hearts. After chatting for a while, they left contentedly. But the changes in the outside world have not subsided. Qin Feng released words from time to time, trying to anger Qin Chen and make him impulsively challenge. In his opinion, Qin Chen would definitely pay close attention to his every move. Once he heard his words, even if he was calm, he would inevitably be impulsive and accept the challenge. He never thought that Qin Chen didn't take him to heart at all and focused on closed-door cultivation. In the next 2 days, Qin Chen stayed behind closed doors and practiced hard. Halfway through, Qin Ying did come once, also for the matter of Qin Feng's challenge. After seeing that Qin Chen was very calm, she left with peace of mind. This day was the day of Qin Feng's challenge. Qin Feng arrived at the life and death stage in the capital early and waited for Qin Chen's arrival. The entire life and death stage was gradually surrounded by many martial artists from the capital who had heard the news, waiting for an earth-shattering battle. Among them were Wei Zhen, Li Qingfeng, Lian Peng, Ji Zhou and others, wanting to see with their own eyes how Qin Chen would be taught a lesson. Just when everyone was waiting, Qin Chen drifted to the Dan Pavilion. Because he received news that the Dan Pavilion had collected all the materials he needed. Young Master Chen, today is the day for you to show off your power. There are many people on the life and death stage waiting for you to go. Xiao Ya smiled playfully when she saw Qin Chen for the first time. She was wearing a light blue dress, and her beautiful eyes sparkled. Even as an outsider, she found the Qin family's affairs quite interesting. Have the things I want been collected? Qin Chen was too lazy to pay attention to Xiao Ya. He knew that the more you paid attention to this kind of woman, the more energetic she would become. It's been collected a long time ago. Lu Guang, bring the medicinal materials that young Master Chen wants over. After brewing a pot of tea, Xiao Ya instructed Lu Guang. Not long after, Lu Guang walked in holding a large number of medicinal materials. Young Master Chen, take a look and see if there are any mistakes. Leaning forward slightly, Xiao Ya placed the many medicinal materials in front of Qin Chen, and an alluring fragrance entered Qin Chen's nostrils. Qin Chen was overjoyed. He focused his gaze on the medicinal herbs, carefully identifying each one. With each herb he examined, a look of joy appeared on his face. Xiao Ya was speechless. Was this guy even a man? Such a vibrant and alluring woman was standing in front of him, yet he didn't even react. He was just staring at these herbs. Could it be that these herbs were more captivating than her, a great beauty? Xiao Ya was full of confidence in her appearance and figure. Almost every man who saw her was captivated by her, even the heads of the various major families. But the last time Qin Chen saw her, there wasn't the slightest hint of infatuation on his face. And in recent days, Xiao Ya had learned a lot about Qin Chen. She became increasingly interested in this illegitimate son who had left the Qin family. Young Master Chen, how is it? Am I right? Her cherry lips slightly parted, Xiao Ya exuded a captivating fragrance, her enchanting figure almost touching Qin Chen. When Qin Chen looked up, he saw a patch of snowy white skin. Although separated by clothing, it still appeared incredibly alluring. Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, I'm still just a child. Is this really okay? Qin Chen said with a teasing smile, touching his nose. Xiao Ya was stunned, feeling rather awkward. This guy. Sitting back in her seat, Xiao Ya said, all right, young Master Chen, I've gathered all the materials you requested. I wonder what kind of pills young Master Chen plans for me to refine. Many of these materials were ones that Xiao Ya had never used before. She had carefully analyzed them several times, but couldn't figure out what kind of pills Qin Chen wanted to refine. She couldn't help but feel curious. I want to refine the third-grade exploding body pill, solidifying body pill, and foundation body pill. What? Xiao Ya's pupils constricted, her face showing shock. She had heard of the exploding body pill, solidifying body pill, and foundation body pill. They were three very special types of third-grade pills, all related to a martial artist's physical body. Among them, the exploding body pill was a pill that could temporarily increase a martial artist's cultivation level. However, once this pill was taken, it had serious side effects. Even a heaven stage expert would suffer damage, even breakage, to the meridians in their body. The solidifying body pill, on the other hand, was a pill that condensed the power of the physical body. Once taken, the strength of a martial artist's physical body would increase significantly in a short period of time, enough to double the physical strength of a heaven stage expert. As for the foundation body pill, it was a pill that strengthened a martial artist's physical body. After taking it, it could solidify a martial artist's meridians and physical body, greatly increasing the toughness of the physical body. These three pills seemed to have similar effects, but in reality, they were completely different. Young Master Chen, what do you need these three pills for? Xiao Ya couldn't understand why Qin Chen would need these three pills. Qin Chen said indifferently, you don't need to worry about that. You just need to help me refine them. Xiao Ya shook her head and said with a wry smile, it's no problem for me to refine them, but I can give you the exploding body pill today. However, although I know the recipe for the solidifying body pill, I've never refined it before, so I need to familiarize myself with it for a while. As for the foundation body pill, I don't even know the recipe. How do you expect me to refine it? With me here, you don't need to worry about these things. I will guide you in refining them together. You just need to prepare a refining room immediately. And, Qin Chen said calmly. Xiao Ya and Lu Guang were dumbfounded. Guide her in refining. Was he kidding? And telling Pavilion Master Xiao Ya not to worry. How could they not worry? He wanted to refine not some first-grade pills, but the third-grade exploding body pill, solidifying body pill, and foundation body pill. Even if his talent for refining pills was strong, and his master behind him was awesome, he was still just a first-grade alchemist. Could he guide her? Xiao Ya and Lu Guang's mouths twitched, almost going crazy. Young Master Chen, shouldn't we reconsider this? Stepping forward, Lu Guang couldn't help but remind him. No need to reconsider. Why haven't you gone to prepare the refining room yet? Qin Chen frowned. Why were they being so slow when he asked him to do something? Lu Guang immediately looked at Xiao Ya, who nodded and said, let's just go to my private refining room. She smiled wryly in her heart. Forget it. Compared to the profits brought by these materials and the true chi pills, it's nothing. Even if they're all wasted, it's not a big deal. The group quickly arrived at Xiao Ya's private refining room. Young Master Chen, how do you plan to refine them? Since she had decided to do it, Xiao Ya let go of her worries and asked directly. First, classify these materials according to the order on the list, then take out a certain amount. Lu Guang, go and bring 3 pill furnaces over. Young Master Chen, wouldn't 1 pill furnace be enough? Lu Guang was stunned. Refining them one by one, how long would that take? We'll use 3 pill furnaces to refine 3 kinds of pills at the same time. That will be much faster, and Qin Chen said. What? Refine them at the same time? Lu Guang staggered, almost tripping over. Xiao Ya, who was organizing the medicinal herbs, also twitched her mouth, looking dumbfounded. What? Did I hear wrong? Refining 3 kinds of pills at the same time? Wasn't he joking? One had to know that the refining process of each pill was extremely complicated. Any slight mistake would lead to the failure of the entire refining process. Although she was a 3rd-grade alchemist, even if she was only refining 1 kind of 3rd-grade pill, she couldn't guarantee success. She often failed. Refining 3 kinds at once was simply unimaginable. It was definitely impossible to succeed. Shouldn't you reconsider? And Xiao Ya said speechlessly. I'm just refining some pills. Why do you have to be so cautious? Are you even a 3rd-grade alchemist? Qin Chen frowned. Just refining some pills, why were there so many problems? Forget I said anything, but don't blame us if the refining fails later. And Xiao Ya was going crazy. She was a 3rd-grade alchemist, so she knew how unrealistic Qin Chen's idea was. She didn't expect Qin Chen to not listen to her at all. Fine. You want to refine them, right? Then you refine them. When the medicinal herbs are all ruined and nothing is refined, don't start complaining. Feeling angry, Xiao Ya quickly classified all the materials. Don't worry, as long as you do as I say, you won't be blamed. But let me say this first, you must strictly follow what I say later, and don't hesitate at all. Alright, let's start refining now. And Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, first open the fire-gathering array and heat up the 3 pill furnaces. Boom! The formation was activated, and a thick flame quickly soared into the sky. Xiao Ya was indeed a 3rd-grade alchemist. Under her control, 3 flames were evenly distributed to the bottom of the 3 pill furnaces, constantly licking the pill furnaces in front of her. Next, listen to my instructions. Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, put the medicinal herbs for the exploding body pill, solidifying body pill, and foundation body pill into the 3 pill furnaces respectively, and then control the fire-gathering array to close the 42nd, 45th, and 47th formation patterns respectively, while simultaneously increasing the power of the 56th, 58th, and 59th formation patterns to 1 times. Add all the ingredients at once. Xiao Ya's lips twitched, and she almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Did Qin Chen even know how to concoct medicine? Every pill required adding the medicinal herbs one by one to ensure the purity of the extraction and the order of fusion between them. But now, Qin Chen actually wanted her to put all the medicinal herbs into the pill furnace at the same time. With so many medicinal herbs reacting instantly in the pill furnace, the final result was often only one thing. All the medicinal herbs would be destroyed, with no other possibility. Thinking of her previous promise, although Xiao Ya found it hard to believe, she still followed Qin Chen's instructions and put all the medicinal herbs into the pill furnace at once. At this moment, Qin Chen suddenly moved. Whoosh! He quickly moved around the formation, forming hand seals and striking the formation. The array patterns on the fire-gathering formation suddenly lit up with varying degrees of brightness. In an instant, after the formation-controlled array fire penetrated the 3 pill furnaces, the warmth of the 3 array fires actually became completely different. 3 flames with completely different temperatures were burning the 3 different pill furnaces. Not only was the flame temperature below the 3 pill furnaces different, but even within the same flame, the temperature of each part varied greatly. What's going on? Xiao Ya, who was operating according to Qin Chen's instructions, instantly froze, staring at this scene in horror. Her cherry lips parted as she murmured, how could the same formation produce 3 completely different flames? Shouldn't the formation be a unified entity? Even if there are some differences in the released flames, how could there be such a big gap? How is this possible? Not only is the heat under the 3 pill furnaces different, but the flames under each pill furnace are constantly changing. Am I seeing things? Lu Guang was even more shocked, his eyeballs bulging out, completely falling to the ground. One must know that the first step in refining any medicinal pill is to purify the medicinal herbs, that is, to extract the medicinal properties from the medicinal herbs using fire. And each medicinal herb has different characteristics, and the temperature required for purification and melting is also different. What the alchemist needs to do is to use their mental power to control the temperature of the flame, so that the pill furnace reaches the temperature they need. However, any refining formation is a unified entity. Although stimulating the formation can make it easier for the alchemist to control the degree of heat during refining. However, the formation also has a very important characteristic, which is that it has a fixed mode, and it is difficult to separate out different temperatures. Therefore, it often requires testing the alchemist's ability to control the fire. This was also the reason why Xiao Ya and Lu Guang were so shocked at the beginning when Qin Chen refined 3 kinds of pills at the same time. Because the flames required to melt these 3 kinds of pills were all different, but the same fire-gathering formation could not simultaneously display so many types of flames. But now, everything Qin Chen was showing completely subverted Xiao Ya's and their understanding. For a time, the two people's gazes were dull, and the movements on their hands also paused. Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, what are you doing? Quickly control the formation for me. With a moment of distraction, the fire-gathering formation immediately fluctuated, and the 3 flames under the pill furnace also produced violent fluctuations. Hearing Qin Chen's angry shout, Xiao Ya came back to her senses from the shock. But after such a mistake by her, the medicinal herbs put into the pill furnace suddenly became unstable, and strands of rich medicinal power continuously collided in the pill furnace, becoming violent. The entire pill furnace was shaking, as if it was about to explode at any moment. Not good. Xiao Ya was shocked. It's over. This time the refining has failed. Her heart sank, and a look of self-blame appeared in her eyes. Once the medicinal properties become violent, the entire refining process is basically considered a failure, and it is almost impossible to turn it around. After all, each pill furnace contains at least a dozen kinds of medicinal herbs, and at most dozens of kinds. If they were added one by one, it would be fine, but before, she added all the medicinal herbs at once. Once the medicinal effects lost their balance, so many medicinal herbs would react with each other, and it would be an almost impossible task to turn it back. Young Master Chen, I'm sorry, I was careless. With a wry smile, Xiao Ya's heart was filled with self-blame as she spoke. But before she could finish speaking, she heard Qin Chen's furious shout. Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, who told you to stop refining? Quickly control the medicinal property reaction for me. Qin Chen was almost going crazy. What was wrong with this Xiao Ya? Was she really the pavilion master of the pill pavilion? A dignified Tier 3 alchemist was constantly having problems during the refining process. Was her identity as a Tier 3 alchemist a fraud? But continuing to refine is meaningless. Who said it's meaningless? If he didn't still need her to refine, Qin Chen would have wanted to kick Xiao Ya away. Without bothering to say anything more, seeing the situation getting dangerous, Qin Chen's eyes were like lightning, and his hands suddenly formed hand seals. Mysterious mental power hand seals instantly poured into the pill furnace like waves. These mental power hand seals were not of high intensity, only at the Tier 1 level, but as soon as they entered the pill furnace, they immediately underwent magical changes. Those spiritual medicines in the pill furnace that had lost their balance and were about to collapse were gradually stabilized under the control and fusion of these mental powers, and once again entered a state of mutual reaction. How is this possible? Xiao Ya's eyes suddenly widened as she was about to say something else. As for Lu Guang, his mouth was so wide that he could almost stuff an egg into it. What exactly happened just now? Why did the reaction suddenly stabilize? Am I seeing things? Xiao Ya was about to go crazy. The spiritual medicines entering a violent state meant that the reaction in the pill furnace had developed to a state of collapse. The difficulty of getting it back into the refining state was as high as climbing to the sky. How volatile were Tier 3 medicinal pills? Without being polite, Even a Tier 4 profound level alchemist would find it difficult to find a way to recover when faced with this violent state. What's more, what had gone violent before was a full 3 furnaces of medicinal pills. But Qin Chen actually used only some Tier 1 mental power to pull the refining that was about to collapse from the edge of the cliff. This completely subverted their understanding. These mental power hand seals are too brilliant. Although the intensity is only Tier 1, even I find it difficult to see the mystery in them. What kind of hand seals are these? It's too incredible. Xiao Ya's delicate body trembled violently, her soft chest heaving. Her eyes widened, shooting out a look of horror, and a stormy sea rolled up in her heart. Qin Chen, what exactly happened just now? How could this be? And that flame? Doubt gathered on her face, and her brows were tightly furrowed. She couldn't figure out why, and she was about to go crazy. At this moment, Xiao Ya's heart felt as if 10,000 ants were crawling, making her extremely uncomfortable. Stop overthinking it. Actually, it's very simple, Qin Chen said with a cold snort, seeing Xiao Ya's incredulous expression and her loss of composure to continue refining pills. Very simple. Xiao Ya and Lu Guang almost spat out a mouthful of blood. They couldn't figure something out, and you say it's very simple. Are you even letting people live? Qin Chen ignored their thoughts and explained, when medicinal herbs enter a violent state, it's due to an overreaction caused by an imbalance during the fusion of various medicinal effects. Once this reaction occurs, if it's not controlled in time, it will immediately lead to a chain reaction, causing the entire refining process to lose control. In this situation, what we need to do is not to use mental power to reverse the entire process, but to guide it along, using the inherent properties of the various medicinal herbs to bring them back to the path of fusion. This is much easier than forcibly reversing the refining process. Of course, to achieve this, 2 things are very important. First, the understanding of the properties of various medicinal herbs must be extremely thorough. Second, the control of mental power must be precise to the extreme. With these, reversing a violent state is not difficult. As for the previous temperature control, it's even simpler. Any refining array is composed of 108 basic array patterns, including 36 main array patterns and 72 auxiliary array patterns. These basic array patterns fuse together to form a complete refining array. By manipulating the 72 auxiliary array patterns, you can adjust the flame temperature, size, and intensity of any part of the array. Of course, to achieve this, you also need a very deep understanding of the fire-gathering array and precise control of the array. Both are indispensable. After all, the combinations formed by the 72 array patterns are too numerous, and the effects produced by different combinations will be completely different. Although one of you is a rank 3 alchemist and the other is a rank 2 alchemist, your mental strength is sufficient, but your control over mental power and true energy is too rough. You haven't thoroughly understood the principles and essence of array and pill refining. Although you are considered extremely excellent in the Great Qi Kingdom, you wouldn't even be considered beginners outside. Alright. I've explained what needs to be explained. Next, you refine seriously. If you have any questions, I'll answer them after the refining is complete. After saying all this, Qin Chen ignored their reactions and focused all his attention on refining. Although his current mental strength has reached the peak of rank 1, he is refining 3 types of rank 3 pills after all, and even with Xiao Ya's help, he cannot afford to be careless. So that's how it is. Instead of reversing the refining process, guide it along, using the inherent reactions between medicinal effects to resolve it. A fire-gathering array can use the control of array patterns to make the flame temperature in the entire array different. My heavens! Is this the essence of an alchemist? One by one, their pupils widened, Xiao Ya and Lu Guang's faces were full of horror and disbelief. As high-ranking members of the Pill Pavilion in the Great Qi Kingdom, they thought their attainments in alchemy were already extremely high. But after hearing Qin Chen's words, they suddenly felt that they were incredibly small. Qin Chen's theory was like a ray of light suddenly shining in the endless darkness, instantly illuminating their path in alchemy. A brand new door slowly opened before their eyes. Only then did they realize how crude the previous refining was, relying on strong mental power to forcibly participate in the reaction of medicinal herbs. No wonder the success rate was so low, and even if the refining was successful, the quality rate was not very high. A true alchemist must rely on a thorough understanding of medicinal herbs and use precise mental power to integrate into the refining process. Mental power is only a lubricant for the fusion of various medicinal herbs, used to guide the progress of the reaction, not to forcibly interfere. Moreover, during refining, every bit of mental power must be used wisely. Any powerful alchemist must learn to use the least amount of mental power to participate in the most reactions. Qin Chen's faint voice came, as he explained and guided their operations. The various medicinal herbs in the 3 pill furnaces seemed to attract each other and fuse together, without needing too much control. This was completely different from the previous refining. If the previous refining was a war with the spiritual herbs, then Qin Chen's refining at this moment was an exchange with the spiritual herbs, an art. At this moment, Qin Chen stood in front of Xiao Ya, like a giant of 10,000 feet, causing her to look up involuntarily, her heart shaken. What is the origin of this child? Why is his attainment in alchemy so terrifying? Xiao Ya had never heard of these theories, even from her former master. As Qin Chen explained, sweat gradually seeped from his forehead, and his face was slightly pale. After all, his mental strength was only at the peak of rank 1. With his current cultivation, it was indeed very difficult to refine 3 furnaces of rank 3 pills at the same time. Fortunately, his understanding of medicinal properties had reached a heaven-defying level, and with the help of Xiao Ya and the others, the whole process seemed smooth. With continuous refining, the reactions in the pill furnaces became more and more intense. About half an hour later, condense! Qin Chen shouted loudly, and a powerful mental force swept into the pill furnaces. Bang! The 3 pill furnaces above the array fire simultaneously emitted a roar, the lids opened, and dozens of streams of light of different colors suddenly soared from the pill furnaces, and the rich fragrance of medicinal herbs instantly filled the entire refining room. Whizzing! 9 round pills in each furnace, a total of 27 pills, radiated brilliantly in the air, blooming with dazzling light, and then steadily fell into the pill plate beside them. Huff! Huff! Xiao Ya gasped for breath, her temples were soaked with fragrant sweat, panting heavily. Tired. It was really too tired. She had never been so tired in any refining process, but after breathing, her eyes immediately fell on the pill plate in front of her. Looking at the full and round pills, her eyes filled with excitement. Exploding body pill, condensate pill, bodybuilding pill, I actually really refined them successfully. Xiao Ya widened her eyes, looking at the pills in front of her in shock, her face full of shock and disbelief. Refining 3 types of rank 3 pills at once was actually really successful. Am I dreaming? At this moment, Xiao Ya simply couldn't believe her eyes. 3 different rank 3 pills successfully refined simultaneously. A miracle. This is simply a miracle. Beside him, Lu Guang trembled, so excited he was practically going mad. Qin Chen's round of refining had caused an unprecedented shock to his heart. He had never known that a pill refiner could refine 3 furnaces of pills at the same time and succeed. That intense shock instantly overturned his decades of refining philosophy. He had never imagined that pill refining could be done like this. The past few decades had been a waste of his life. At this moment, Xiao Ya and Lu Guang had long exhausted their spiritual power, but they were incredibly excited, not feeling tired at all, as if they could refine another 10 or 8 times. You dare call these trash pills? The purity is so low, they're no different from waste products. Arriving in front of the pill plate, Qin Chen glanced at the pills before him, his brow furrowing instantly, and he sighed slightly. No way, is the purity really that low? Xiao Ya and Lu Guang's eyes twitched, somewhat in disbelief, and they hurriedly stepped forward, gazing intently. Although there were some accidents during the previous refinement, the overall process was perfect, especially the moment the pills came out, with the pill aura lingering, the radiance brilliant, and a rich medicinal fragrance spreading everywhere. It didn't seem like waste pills at all. Under the tension in their hearts, the 2 looked intently, and at this sight, their eyes almost popped out, and they breathed a long sigh of relief. Young Master Chen, you must be mistaken. These 20-plus pills are full and round, with a fresh and gentle fragrance, and even pill patterns are emerging. The medicinal property fusion is at least 80% or higher, and they are all top grade. The pills in front of them were clearly unprecedented top grade pills. How could they be waste products? They were almost scared to death. So what if they're top grade? Qin Chen shook his head, looking dissatisfied. The highest medicinal property fusion of these pills is only 89%, and the lowest is only 80%. There isn't even a single special grade pill. If it were in the past, I would have swept such pills into the trash can. PFFT. Xiao Ya and Lu Guang spat out blood upon hearing this. Damn it. As long as they weren't special grade pills, they would be swept into the trash can. Was he kidding them? These were rank 3 pills, not rank 2 pills, let alone rank 1 pills. What was the concept of special grade pills? You had to know that some pill refiners might not be able to refine a furnace of special grade pills in their entire lives. The difficulty was astonishing. If it were a rank 4 profound level pill refiner, being able to refine top grade pills would already be perfect. You, a rank 1 pill refiner, refined 3 furnaces of top grade pills at once, and you're still complaining. The two were about to go crazy. If that were the case, what were the pills they had refined before? Trash among trash. Forget it. There aren't enough materials and time to refine again, and it's not certain that it would be better than this time's refinement. It's better to just purify them a bit. After looking at these pills for a long time, Qin Chen was still somewhat dissatisfied. He slapped the table with his right hand, and with a whoosh, the 20+ pills instantly flew into the sky. Performing hand seals, Qin Chen activated the fire-gathering array, and suddenly, streams of flame spewed into the air, scorching the 20+ pills. Purification. Isn't purification only for medicinal herbs? Now that the pills have taken shape, can they still be purified? Xiao Ya and Lu Guang were instantly dumbfounded, their minds almost crashing, as they stared blankly at Qin Chen continuously performing hand seals, streams of spiritual power merging into the array fire, participating in the reaction. This technique. This is. Xiao Ya was suddenly shocked. She saw that each of Qin Chen's hand seals was not very complicated, but it gave people a sense of great simplicity, yet they couldn't see it clearly no matter what. That feeling of wanting to grasp but not being able to, made her feel uncomfortable, and she just stared at Qin Chen intently. Whoosh. A moment later, Qin Chen suddenly retracted the array fire, and the 20+ pills fell into the pill plate, spinning around, and an even richer fragrance permeated the refining room. Pill patterns. The medicinal property fusion has actually improved. Gasps of cold air suddenly came. Xiao Ya and Lu Guang looked at the pills in front of them in horror. They saw that some of the pills that didn't have pill patterns before now had pill patterns appearing on their surfaces. Although they weren't particularly obvious, there was a world of difference compared to before. How did he do it? Xiao Ya and Lu Guang were completely shocked. Just by using the array fire to scorch them, he could increase the original 80+% medicinal property fusion to over 90%. Once this spread, the entire Northwest 5 Nations pill refiner world would be shaken. In the unspoken rules of the pill refiner world, pills can only be purified during the fusion stage. Once they are refined, they are completely formed, and it is impossible to purify them again. How did Qin Chen do it? With my current spiritual power, I can only purify them to this extent. Although there is still some gap between them and special grade pills, it's better than before. It's so-so. Too lazy to pay attention to Xiao Ya and Lu Guang, Qin Chen shook his head and sighed, seemingly still dissatisfied with the purity of the pills in front of him. Plop. Xiao Ya and Lu Guang fell directly to the ground upon hearing this, completely unable to complain. Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, lend me a cultivation room. Now that the pills had been refined, Qin Chen also wanted to test their efficacy, and he directly prepared to try them in the pill pavilion. Lu Guang, take young Master Chen to my private cultivation room. Xiao Ya looked at Qin Chen at this time, no longer as casual as she was at the beginning, and her eyes faintly carried a trace of respect. The three quickly arrived at Xiao Ya's cultivation room. Young Master Chen, this is my cultivation room. Feel free to use it, and don't worry about anyone disturbing you. Xiao Ya's cultivation room had everything. Qin Chen said a word of thanks and walked in. Rumble. The door of the cultivation room was tightly closed. Let's begin. Looking at the pills in his hand, Qin Chen sat down cross-legged, picked up a body-burst pill, and swallowed it in one gulp. While Qin Chen began cultivating in the pill pavilion, in front of the life and death arena in the royal capital, there was already an uproar. To witness the confrontation between the two Qins, many martial artists had gathered here early in the morning. But Qin Chen had not appeared. At first, everyone was still patient, talking and laughing as they waited. But as time passed, Qin Chen didn't even show the slightest sign of appearing. Gradually, the crowd began to get restless. What exactly is going on with this Qin Chen? It's almost noon now, and he hasn't appeared yet. He won't not come, will he? That's unlikely. Qin Feng is provoking him so much. As long as he's a man, he can't not appear. That's right. Even if he doesn't agree to the challenge, he can't not pay attention. People spoke one after another, affirming their thoughts. On the arena, Qin Feng remained calm, sitting there cross-legged with composure, not caring about the opinions of the onlookers. In fact, he shared the same thought as everyone else. By provoking Qin Chen like this, if Qin Chen was truly a man, he couldn't possibly ignore it. No matter what, he would come to the scene to observe. At that time, he only needed to provoke him with a few words, and he would be confident enough to make Qin Chen fly into a rage and step onto the stage. At that time, HMPH. A cold smile crept onto Qin Feng's lips, and a cold glint shot out from his eyes. With this in mind, Qin Feng waited patiently. The scorching sun blazed. The sunlight roasted the earth. In the blink of an eye, it was noon, but Qin Chen still hadn't appeared. Could it be that Qin Chen isn't coming? Should we send someone to Qin Chen's house to take a look? It's not a solution for us to just keep waiting like this. Some people gradually couldn't restrain themselves and said loudly. Waiting like this, how long would they have to wait? Even Qin Feng was gradually becoming restless. The others in the stands at least had chairs to sit on and places to shade themselves from the sun, but he was sitting cross-legged on the arena, surrounded by nothing, directly exposed to the scorching sunlight. It was exhausting. Okay. Send a few people to take a look. Waiting like this, how long will it take? Wei Zhen and the others sat in a corner, their lips were parched from waiting, each of them anxiously waiting. Soon, many martial artists left the life and death arena and headed towards the western city. Since Qin Yong's night raid, Qin Chen's residence had already been exposed. A group of martial artists, in a mighty formation, arrived outside Qin Chen's residence. Who is it, daring to trespass here? Retreat! Before they could even call out at the gate, a furious roar suddenly rang out, followed by a fully armed team of city guards surging out from all directions, blocking everyone outside the residence. The leader was none other than Zhao Li. So it's Commander Zhao Li. Someone recognized Zhao Li and immediately stepped out from the crowd, cupping his fist and smiling. Commander Zhao Li, don't be nervous. We've come only to see Qin Chen, with no other intention. This person was also a disciple of a family in the royal capital and had met Zhao Li a few times, assuming they were very familiar. I don't care what your intentions are, retreat. This is a private residence, and no one is allowed to approach without permission. Drawing his battle blade, Zhao Li pointed the blade at the person, shouting coldly, his eyes revealing a cold glint. That person didn't expect Zhao Li to be so unyielding. In shock and anger, he stumbled backward, almost falling on his butt, and immediately became furious with embarrassment. Zhao Li, what do you mean by this? This person's face was unsightly. He prided himself on his extraordinary status, but he didn't expect Zhao Li to not give him any face, making him lose so much face in front of everyone. Zhao Li, you are the deputy commander of the city guard, that's right, but we haven't broken any laws. What you're doing seems a bit inappropriate, right? A young man snorted coldly. He was also a member of a large family in the royal capital, with a prominent status, usually able to sit on equal footing with ordinary young marquises, not ordinary at all. I don't care if it's appropriate or not. If you don't believe me, you can try it. Clang. The battle blade drew a line on the ground. Whoever dares to cross this line, I don't care who he is, I'll take him down. Zhao Li sneered. Zhao Li, You dare. Just a small deputy commander of the Western City Guard, and he's already become lawless. There are so many of us. Can you catch us all? I don't believe that Zhao Li has the guts to attack this group of us. The people were furious. The two who stepped forward even had sneers on their faces, stepping forward with disdain. They were all influential people in the royal capital. Zhao Li, a deputy commander of the Western City Guard, was just a minor official in the royal capital. How dare he attack so many of them? You are courting death. Seeing that someone was ignoring his rules, Zhao Li suddenly roared, his figure leaping up, his huge palm directly grabbing towards the leader. Clang clang clang. The city guards behind him also drew their battle blades, forming a circle. This Zhao Li, he really won't shed tears until he sees the coffin. The two young men saw Zhao Li's big hand grabbing towards them and couldn't help but snort coldly. Boom. Their bodies' energy burst forth. Two terrifying energies swept out, the two of them forming palms with their hands, simultaneously striking over. Roar roar. The intense energy transformed into dragons and tigers in the void, surrounding Zhao Li, causing people to change color. Both of these two had cultivation at the Earth realm, and they were used to being tyrannical. With the combined strength, their power was nearly doubled, and they could already imagine the scene of Zhao Li returning empty-handed after their palm strike. However, the next moment, when Zhao Li's attack arrived, the faces of the two men suddenly changed. A power so strong that the two could hardly imagine suddenly struck, instantly shattering the true energy. What? In shock, the two hurriedly wanted to retreat, but it was already too late. Bang bang. The two were simultaneously sent flying out, spitting out a mouthful of blood, heavily falling to the ground, their bodies' true energy agitated, and their meridians shattered. What? This terrifying scene also stunned the others. Chen Feng and Chu Zhao's cultivation were both at the mid-stage of the Earth realm. With the two of them joining forces, their power nearly doubled, but they were actually repelled by Zhao Li in one move. How was this possible? Daring to offend the city guard, take them down. With a roar, Zhao Li stepped forward, grabbing towards Chen Feng and Chu Zhao, who were showing expressions of fear. Commander Zhao, give this old man some face and let them go, how about it? An old man shouted in a low voice, stepping out from the crowd, blocking Zhao Li. The true energy in his body surged, his majestic true energy sweeping out. He was actually a peak late-stage Earth realm expert, his cultivation even not below Qin Yong. What kind of thing do you think you are, deserving of me giving you face? Zhao Li sneered, inwardly furious. How could he not know the purpose of this group of people? They must have come for young Master Chen. Daring to plot against young Master Chen, he wouldn't even give the Heavenly King's face. Boom. The true energy in his body was pushed to the extreme. Zhao Li struck down with one palm, and the old man's originally calm face suddenly changed. An extremely tyrannical true energy suddenly poured into his body, instantly sending the entire person flying out, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Heaven. Heavenly realm. The old man showed a look of horror, exclaiming in a lost voice. What? Heavenly realm. Didn't they say that Zhao Li had a hidden illness in his body back then and would never be able to break through for the rest of his life? How could he? Everyone was stunned, each of them staring at Zhao Li in horror. The difference between the heavenly realm and the earth realm seemed to be only a fine line, but in reality, it was as different as heaven and earth. In the royal capital of the Great Qi Kingdom, martial artists of the earth realm could only be considered experts. But those of the heavenly realm could be called powerhouses. The reason why Zhao Li was previously unpopular was only because he had broken through to the late stage peak of the earth realm many years ago, and then he had never broken through again. Rumor had it that he suffered from a hidden illness and would never be able to break through again. In fact, as time passed, his cultivation would continue to regress. Because of this, he was transferred to the Western City to be a mere deputy commander. But now, Zhao Li had actually broken through. A heavenly realm powerhouse in his 30s. At this moment, everyone gasped, their hearts filled with horror. Elder Hu, are you sure you didn't see wrong? Has Commander Zhao Li really broken through to the heaven realm? From the crowd, someone whispered a sentence. Even now, many people still find it hard to believe. The old man's face was solemn, and he said in a deep voice, it's more than just breaking through to the heaven realm. If I'm not mistaken, Commander Zhao Li's current cultivation has reached the peak of the early stage of the heaven realm, and he is probably only one step away from the middle stage of the heaven realm. Hiss. Elder Hu's words drew gasps of cold air. Everyone's eyes were about to pop out, and their hearts were filled with shock. Zhao Li's breakthrough to the heaven realm was already shocking enough, but unexpectedly, he was actually a powerhouse at the peak of the early stage of the heaven realm. What kind of concept is this? A heaven realm powerhouse in their 30s is already very rare, belonging to the most elite level in the Great Qi Kingdom. And a heaven realm powerhouse at the peak of the early stage in their 30s is even more terrifying. Even if you search the entire capital of the Great Qi Kingdom, you probably won't find a few. Such a powerhouse may not be considered a top figure now, but their future is definitely limitless. Commander Zhao Li, we unintentionally offended you earlier. Please forgive us, Commander Zhao Li. Yes, we offended Commander Zhao Li just now. Please, Commander Zhao Li, be magnanimous and don't take it to heart. Commander Zhao Li, I am the third elder of the Li family. I didn't attack before. My Li family has always been law-abiding. How could we defy the city guard's enforcement of the law? That's a serious crime. The people who had previously mocked Zhao Li were no longer calm and hurriedly explained in panic. Some people with less powerful backgrounds were almost scared to their knees, feeling like they wanted to cry but had no tears. Did it have to be like this? We were just here to watch, but we actually offended a heaven realm powerhouse with a limitless future. They felt like they wanted to bang their heads against a wall and die. Commander Zhao Li, misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. Chen Feng and Chu Zhao no longer had the arrogance they had at the beginning. Coughing up blood, they lay on the ground and said to Zhao Li in fear. Their families might not care about a ground realm powerhouse without a future, but they would never offend a heaven realm powerhouse with a limitless future for their sake. They would probably break their legs if they knew what happened here. Get lost. Looking at the two people begging for mercy in fear, Zhao Li frowned in disgust and scolded. Taking such people back would only tarnish the city guard's dungeon. Yes, we'll get lost immediately. The two crawled and scrambled into the crowd. With Zhao Li guarding here, it was simply an impossible mission for them to break in and find Qin Chen. And no one had the courage or the guts to do so. I know very well why you came. It's for the challenge with Qin Feng, right? If it's because of this, you can leave. Young Master Chen is not in the mansion today. He left early in the morning. Looking at these people hesitating, Zhao Li was too lazy to talk nonsense with them and turned to leave with his subordinates. Left. Everyone was stunned. Soon, the news spread like a gust of wind to the location of the life and death arena. Including Qin Feng, everyone almost vomited blood, and they were dumbfounded, almost going crazy. Damn it, what kind of joke is this? They had been waiting foolishly at the life and death arena from morning to afternoon, just wanting to see an exciting life and death battle. They even sent people to Qin Chen's house, trying to lure Qin Chen out. Who knew that Qin Chen was not at home at all and had already gone out early in the morning, and they didn't know where he had gone. So they had been waiting in vain for so long. Qin Chen had no intention of accepting the challenge at all. The crowd was in an uproar, almost exploding. This was too cheating. Faced with this situation, who would be willing to wait any longer? Probably Qin Chen wouldn't come even at night. Almost instantly, a large group of people left. The remaining people also left one after another. Only Qin Feng and a few others who were extremely hostile to Qin Chen remained here. Young Master Feng, it seems that coward Qin Chen doesn't dare to come. There's no point in continuing to stay. Should we leave too? A subordinate hesitated. Continue waiting. Qin Feng gritted his teeth in hatred, clenched his fists, and his eyes were cold. Even if I have to wait until the end, I will wait. You guys spread the news that Qin Chen is a coward, afraid of me, and doesn't even dare to accept the challenge. He doesn't deserve to enter the blood spirit pool. Yes. Qin Feng's subordinates quickly left. Only Qin Feng was left, still sitting cross-legged on the life and death arena, suffering from the scorching sun, with a face full of anger. A moment later, the news that Qin Chen dared not accept the challenge quickly spread in the royal capital. Qin Feng had been prepared for this, and almost instantly, rumors spread throughout the streets and alleys of the royal capital. Qin Feng is still at the life and death arena. Even Xiao Ya and Lu Guang in the Pill Pavilion heard the rumor. Thinking that Qin Chen was cultivating in their training room, the two couldn't help but look strange. Pavilion Master, should we notify young Master Chen about this? Lu Guang hesitated. No need. Young Master Chen doesn't care about this matter at all. If Qin Feng wants to wait, let him continue to wait. Xiao Ya stroked her chin, looked at the training room where Qin Chen was, and revealed a strange expression. He's really an interesting person. Just as Xiao Ya expected, Qin Chen at this moment had no time to care about Qin Feng's challenge. As soon as the exploding pill entered his stomach, a terrifying medicinal effect immediately exploded in his body, causing him to let out a painful groan. An unprecedented heat flow, like scorching magma, quickly spread throughout his internal organs. HMPH. Groaning in pain, Qin Chen's face twisted, and beads of sweat quickly appeared on his forehead. His whole body convulsed involuntarily. The rank 3 exploding pill is generally taken by Heaven Realm powerhouses in moments of life and death crisis. It can increase the cultivation of Heaven Realm martial artists in a short period of time, but its side effects are equally terrible, and can even cause the blood vessels of Heaven Realm powerhouses to rupture. What would be the effect of such a violent medicinal effect on Qin Chen, a martial artist who was only at the peak of the human realm? His body seemed to be burning like a flame, and intense pain came. Qin Chen's skin instantly turned crimson, and traces of blood seeped out of his pores, almost instantly turning him into a bloody man. Ordinary martial artists simply could not withstand this kind of pain, but Qin Chen gritted his teeth and persisted, letting out an angry roar, and fully operating the 9-star God Emperor art, trying to refine this medicinal power. But as soon as he circulated his true energy, a pain so intense that he couldn't bear it instantly rushed into his mind. Poochie. Qin Chen could no longer bear it, and a mouthful of blood spurted out violently. He cried out simultaneously. The pain, it was too excruciating. Qin Chen had never felt anything like it before. Taking the exploding pill was such a painful thing. The scorching medicinal power was like needles, frantically stirring in every corner of his body, constantly piercing through his meridians, again and again. The intense pain caused Qin Chen's entire body to involuntarily spasm. What shocked Qin Chen even more was that the medicinal power released by the exploding pill was truly terrifying. In just a moment, his meridians felt incredibly full. Gradually, this sense of fullness turned into a throbbing pain, as if it would burst his meridians. Qin Chen's eyes widened, bloodshot, his gums bleeding as he desperately held on. Then, he quickly took out a body-solidifying pill and swiftly threw it into his mouth. The round pill entered his stomach, and a rich medicinal power instantly spread throughout Qin Chen's body. The effects of the body-solidifying pill rapidly diffused, and wherever it passed, Qin Chen's physical strength greatly increased. The rank 3 body-solidifying pill was a pill that could allow a Heaven Realm expert to double their physical strength in a short period. When used on Qin Chen, a peak human realm martial artist, the medicinal effect was even more terrifying. Qin Chen's physical strength soared wildly, and the pain caused by the exploding pill rapidly diminished. Sensing the changes in his body, Qin Chen once again took out a body-forging pill and quickly swallowed it. The rank 3 body-forging pill could enhance the toughness of a martial artist's body and meridians. Under the dual effects of the body-forging pill and the body-solidifying pill, the side effects brought about by the exploding pill drastically weakened, and Qin Chen's physical strength began to slowly increase in the process of destruction and reconstruction. Before the effects of the first exploding pill completely disappeared, Qin Chen quickly took out a second exploding pill and consumed it. Boom! The effects of the two exploding pills immediately stacked, and the previously suppressed medicinal power exploded wildly. The meridians and flesh that had just begun to heal within Qin Chen's body were torn apart once again, causing intense pain. And when he was about to lose his grip, Qin Chen would consume a new body-solidifying pill and body-forging pill. In this way, Qin Chen continuously consumed these 3 types of pills, utilizing their medicinal properties to cultivate. Every pore on his body oozed blood, and in a short time, he became a bloody figure. His entire body, whether meridians or internal organs, no longer had a single intact spot. If anyone were to see Qin Chen's cultivation at this moment, they would definitely be horrified. Could a person really endure such pain? Even a peak Earth realm expert would not be able to withstand it, and Qin Chen was just a teenager in his teens. In the blink of an eye, Qin Chen consumed 5 exploding pills, body solidifying pills, and body forging pills. With 15 pills in his stomach, Qin Chen's meridians were on the verge of exploding. The terrifying medicinal power bloated him like a balloon, ready to explode at any moment, impossible to suppress. Not good. Qin Chen was shocked. He knew that the medicinal effects contained in the exploding pill were too astonishing, already exceeding the limit that a peak human realm martial artist like him could withstand. Once his body could not bear it, he would inevitably explode and die, without any other suspense. I was too reckless. I should temporarily suspend taking the pills. After a moment of shock, Qin Chen immediately regained his senses. Enduring the pain from all parts of his body, he frantically circulated the 9 stars divine emperor art to dissolve the medicinal effects. At the same time, he cultivated a powerful body refining technique from his previous life, the undying saint body. His eyes were incomparably solemn, knowing that if he did not dissolve and absorb the medicinal effects of the exploding pill in time, he would explode and die in less than an incense stick's worth of time. And as soon as he circulated the undying saint body, the pain coming from Qin Chen's body became even more intense. He was drenched in sweat, his face twisted, his muscles constantly spasming, and the sweat seeping out of his skin was reddish, his whole body steaming, completely becoming a bloody man. This was not sweating. It was clearly bleeding. But his gaze was incomparably firm, instead revealing a hint of madness. Ha ha. Great. Great. This is body refining. This is cultivation. While frantically circulating the undying saint body, he hoarsely roared, the pain on his face gradually turning into a kind of joy, a kind of conquest. What was pain? For the sake of his family, for the sake of his friends, for the sake of returning to the peak of this continent, could he, the dignified Qin Chen, not even endure this bit of suffering? Back then, he rose from a humble figure in the martial domain, experiencing countless hardships along the way, and still became the most dazzling person on the continent. In this life, could this little bit of pain defeat him? As the medicinal properties spread, the pain within Qin Chen's body became more and more intense, even to the point of feeling like he was about to faint. If it were an ordinary person, they would rather smash their head against the wall and die. However, Qin Chen's originally twisted face instead became relaxed, filled with perseverance and pride. If you want to become a true powerhouse, what does this little bit of pain matter? Shangguan Xie, Feng Xiaoyu, you wait. Qin Chen, who fell into hell in his previous life, will walk out of hell covered in blood in this life, to reclaim everything I once had. Qin Chen roared. At this time, he instead let go. He swallowed the last 12 pills all at once. Boom. Intense medicinal effects erupted, and Qin Chen almost fainted, with crackling sounds coming from his body. Ha ha ha. Great, great. Qin Chen laughed wildly, spitting out black blood, his skin cracking. Within his body, a large amount of stagnant blood was discharged, and within that stagnant blood, there were even traces of viscous, stinky, black impurities being discharged. At this moment, Qin Chen's physical body was rapidly improving, all kinds of tissues and cells were rapidly reorganizing, as if undergoing a complete transformation, reborn. In the beginning, only the flesh and skin were being transformed. But gradually, the internal organs were also being remodeled. And later on, even the bones and bone marrow were constantly undergoing amazing changes under the infiltration of the 3 types of pills. Time passed by bit by bit. It was not known how long had passed, when suddenly a series of bone explosions came from Qin Chen's body, making sounds like frying soybeans. The sound continued to increase, and in the end, it was like the roar of a tiger and leopard, constantly echoing in Qin Chen's body, and then gradually weakening. A layer of black dirt oozed out from Qin Chen's body surface, emitting a stench. This dirt was constantly discharged, and in the end, what was discharged was traces of blood. This blood was initially dark red, obviously containing many impurities, but in the end, it turned into an almost transparent bright red color. Then the pores contracted, and the entire sewage process completely ended. Finally, the body refining is successful. Undying Saint body, breaking through the first level. Qin Chen opened his eyes, a trace of surprise flashing in his eyes. At this moment, he felt that his whole body was full of power, with an urge to move mountains and overturn seas. Just as he was surprised, suddenly, Qin Chen's sea of qi suddenly swelled, and the heaven and earth's true qi in the practice room quickly spun, turning into a vortex and rushing towards his body. This is a breakthrough to the human realm. Qin Chen was stunned. He did not expect that the cultivation that he had been trying to suppress would break through at this time without any warning. All along, Qin Chen had been suppressing his cultivation, not breaking through to the earth realm, because he wanted to temper his body and strive to break through in one fell swoop in the blood spirit pool. But he never expected that because of these days of continuous cultivation, his body had reached an extreme. In addition, after taking 27 rank 3 pills, the powerful medicinal effects caused the 12 meridians in Qin Chen's body to reach their limit at that previous moment. Moreover, although these 27 rank 3 pills were all body refining pills, they also contained extremely terrifying true energy. This true energy was enough to allow a heaven realm martial artist to break through, let alone a peak human realm martial artist like Qin Chen. All of this combined caused Qin Chen's cultivation to reach a peak when the undying sacred body broke through to the first level. At the moment of the breakthrough, the suppressed cultivation also broke through, completely uncontrollable. The whole process was natural and without any obstacles. The reason why I suppressed my cultivation was to maximize the enhancement of my physical body when entering the blood spirit pool. Now that even the first level of the undying sacred body has been completed, it means that my physical body has actually reached the limit of human realm martial artists, and even if I enter the blood spirit pool, there will be no further improvement. The undying sacred body is the most terrifying body refining technique Qin Chen knows. In his previous life, Qin Chen had obtained many heaven realm body refining techniques, including the divine demon 9 transformations, the 8-9 arcane art, the supreme golden body, the 9 revolutions Vajra body, the indestructible body, and so on. Any one of these was the most top-notch body refining technique in the martial domain. However, among them, the undying sacred body was recognized as the most difficult. The undying sacred body is divided into 9 levels. Each level requires a large amount of resources and overcoming great pain to succeed. Although other techniques are also very difficult, some people in the martial domain have cultivated to the 8th or even 9th level. However, in the previous life, the most talented person in the martial domain only cultivated the undying sacred body to the 7th level. But that person was recognized as the number 1 body refiner in the martial domain, and no one could rival him in body refining. Therefore, when choosing a body refining technique in this life, he resolutely chose the undying sacred body. Now that his cultivation has broken through, Qin Chen was surprised, but he quickly calmed down. Since the physical body has been raised to the limit, the breakthrough is a matter of course. There is nothing to regret. Moreover, I heard that the stronger the physical body, the higher the efficacy of the blood spirit pool. Maybe the effect will be even stronger after I break through and enter it. Sitting cross-legged in the training room, Qin Chen no longer worried about gains and losses, and immediately closed his eyes to cultivate. Hoo. A large amount of heaven and earth true energy poured into his body, transforming into more pure earth realm true energy. This true energy poured into his body, filling the meridians in his body. After a full few hours, the true energy in Qin Chen's body reached a limit, and he stopped cultivating. Let's test the power. Standing up, Qin Chen suddenly struck out with a palm. Boom bang. The force of the palm exploded, and the terrifying fist wind turned into a hurricane, slamming into the force measuring pillar in the training room. The entire force measuring pillar shook violently with a loud thud, almost lifting off the ground. What a terrifying physical body strength, it is indeed the undying sacred body. Qin Chen was secretly shocked, with joy on his face. That casual blow just now was almost close to the power of 50 horses, and he didn't use any true energy at all, relying on pure physical strength. The power of 50 horses, even a peak late-stage Earth realm powerhouse would not be able to possess it, only a Heaven Realm powerhouse might be able to reach it. Qin Chen clicked his tongue, even he was shocked. This was not the result of his full strength. Once he used his full strength, wouldn't even Heaven Realm powerhouses be suppressed by him in terms of strength? This undying sacred body is simply too perverted. No wonder so many martial emperor powerhouses in my previous life failed to cultivate to the 6th level. To allow an early-stage Earth Realm martial artist to crush a Heaven Realm martial artist in terms of physical body, what would be the effect of such a technique if it were cultivated to the ultimate 9th level? I'm afraid that an ordinary 9 Heavens martial emperor could be crushed with a casual blow. Shangguan Xie, Feng Xiaoyu, you wait, Qin Chen, am coming back step by step. When you see me that day, I will definitely give you a big surprise. Qin Chen sneered, exuding killing intent all over his body. Outside the training room, Xiao Ya and Lu Guang didn't do anything, and waited for almost a day. Pavilion Master, when is young Master Chen going to finish cultivating? It's almost been a day, right? He hasn't come out yet. Could something have happened? Seeing that Qin Chen had entered the training room in the morning and hadn't come out for a long time, Lu Guang couldn't help but look at Xiao Ya worriedly. During the day, Lu Guang clearly heard bursts of painful roars from the training room. You must know that it was the exclusive training room of Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, and the sound insulation effect was almost the best in the entire Pill Pavilion, but the painful roars could penetrate out, which shows how terrible Qin Chen's roars were inside. If it weren't for Pavilion Master Xiao Ya's obstruction, Lu Guang would have rushed in long ago. Fortunately, the roars gradually subsided later. But this subsidence lasted for several hours. Seeing that it was already night, there was still no movement. Lu Guang was almost driven crazy. Damn it! If something happened to Qin Chen in the training room and he died in the Pill Pavilion, then the problem would be big. Could their Pill Pavilion bear the wrath of the expert behind Qin Chen? Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, we can't wait any longer. If something really happens, it will be troublesome. Hearing Lu Guang's words, Xiao Ya's face also showed a hint of hesitation. She had promised Qin Chen that no one would disturb him, but the current situation no longer allowed her to hesitate. Okay. Nodding, just as Xiao Ya was about to step forward to open the training room. Squeak. The door of the training room suddenly opened by itself, and a man covered in blood walked out. You are. Lu Guang and Xiao Ya were startled, each with a look of horror. Who is this person? Why is he covered in blood from head to toe, with not a single intact place? Thick blood scabs covered the surface of his body, like a blood-colored armor, stinging the eyes of the two. The strong stench and bloody smell made Xiao Ya and Lu Guang's stomachs churn, almost vomiting on the spot. The clothes on his body were tattered, like a beggar who hadn't taken a bath for several years. Prepare a set of clothes for me. It wasn't until Qin Chen's clear voice came that Xiao Ya and Lu Guang came back to their senses. Young Master Chen, how did you become like this? Lu Guang was startled. When he went in during the day, he was still a handsome young man. How did he become a beggar when he came out at night? And when his gaze saw the training room behind Qin Chen, he exclaimed even more, standing there with a dull face. Xiao Ya's gaze followed closely, and she also twitched violently. She saw large patches of shocking bloodstains everywhere on the floor of the training room, making it impossible to see its original appearance. What kind of torment had it endured to create such a scene? Hiss. And, taking a deep breath, Xiao Ya and Lu Guang's hearts twitched fiercely. Young Master Chen, I'll go prepare immediately. And. Lu Guang's tone was solemn, and he immediately ran out to prepare. Pavilion Master Xiao Ya, I'm sorry for dirtying your training room. And. Seeing their expressions, Qin Chen looked at himself and couldn't help but smile wryly. The undying holy body is too terrifying. During the cultivation process, almost all the skin and flesh of his body were torn apart, leaving bloodstains everywhere in the training room. Young Master Chen, I finally understand why you were able to get first place in the Sky Star Academy's year-end exam. And. Xiao Ya looked at Qin Chen, her eyes flashing with unprecedented light. At this moment, she finally understood why Qin Chen, at such a young age, had achieved such accomplishments. All of this was not easily obtained, but rather experienced unimaginable pain. How much amazing power is hidden within this not-so-strong body. Before long, Lu Guang prepared clothes and bathwater. After Qin Chen washed, his originally scarred and shocking skin became smooth as jade, without a single scar. His entire body was like jade, full of a sense of power, without any flaws. After changing into new clothes and seeing Qin Chen again, Xiao Ya and Lu Guang were both stunned. Lu Guang was a third-order heaven-level martial artist, and Xiao Ya was even a fourth-order profound-level expert. They couldn't tell when Qin Chen was covered in blood, but now that he had washed, they immediately noticed that Qin Chen's entire temperament was completely different from that morning. This was definitely a phenomenon that would only occur after a significant breakthrough. In just one day, Qin Chen's cultivation had improved so much. The two were horrified. After discussing the sale of the second-grade True Qi pills with Xiao Ya and Lu Guang, Qin Chen left the pill pavilion. At this time, it was already late. Qin Chen walked on the road, feeling happy. I have to say, this trip to the pill pavilion was really worth it. The undying holy body has broken through to the first level, his physical body has greatly improved, and his cultivation has also broken through to the earth level, improving his self-protection ability by a level. With his current cultivation, if a martial artist like Qin Yong dares to assassinate him again, he won't need any means to crush him. And the power of his physical body has now reached 50 horsepower. If he enters the blood spirit pool again, will it become even stronger? Qin Chen couldn't help but look forward to it. As Qin Chen was walking back, on the other side of the road, Ji Zhou and Lian Peng were walking with depressed faces. Behind them were several guards. Brother Ji, I didn't expect that Qin Chen to be such a coward. We waited for him on the life and death stage for a whole day, but we didn't even see a shadow of him. Yeah, it's simply infuriating. I originally thought I would be able to see Qin Chen being severely taught a lesson by Qin Feng, but I didn't expect to wait a whole day and get roasted in the sun. That hateful brat made us so embarrassed at the treasure pavilion last time. If it weren't for so many forces paying attention and not being able to act rashly, I would have severely taught him a lesson. It's strange to say, why would a figure like Deputy Commander Zhao Li be so concerned about this kid? According to the people who came back, Zhao Li has already broken through to the heaven level. Such a strong person can be considered a big shot even in the royal capital. Why is he so concerned about a stinky brat who was expelled from the Qin family? I don't understand. Lian Peng and Ji Zhou walked on the road, shaking their heads repeatedly, very depressed. During the day today, they waited for half a day on the life and death stage, thinking that Qin Chen would not be able to help but appear after Qin Feng publicized it everywhere. Who knew that they would wait until night, and they didn't see half a shadow of Qin Chen. Those of them who were prepared to watch the excitement waited in vain for a whole day, so angry that their hair was about to burn and blisters were forming on their mouths. Suddenly, Lian Peng raised his head, saw a figure in the alley, and suddenly let out a surprised sound. Brother Ji, look quickly, isn't that guy Qin Chen? Pointing to the front, Lian Peng said excitedly. It really is him. Ji Zhou looked up in confusion, and then his eyes lit up suddenly. He exchanged a glance with Lian Peng, and both of their eyes flashed with excitement. It really is a case of searching high and low to no avail, only to find it effortlessly. Today, even the heavens want this kid to be unlucky. Looking at the guards behind him, the two exchanged a glance, their eyes filled with excitement. Today, they each brought family guards and sect experts, a total of 5 or 6 Earth-level martial artists, including 2 who were at the late peak of the Earth level. Moreover, there are not many people around here, and it is not in the West City, so Zhao Li cannot reach them in time. With so many people, teaching Qin Chen a lesson is not a piece of cake. Let this kid embarrass us at the treasure pavilion last time. If we don't give him a taste of our power, does he really think we're easy to bully? With a wave of his hand, Lian Peng and Ji Zhou led the guards and hurriedly surrounded the alley where Qin Chen disappeared. In the alley, Qin Chen was thinking about things when he suddenly stopped. Who's there? Following me sneakily, come out. Turning around, Qin Chen shouted coldly. He actually discovered us. This kid is quite vigilant. And two strange-sounding voices came, and a group of people walked out of the alley, surrounding Qin Chen from the front and back. The two leading men had strange smiles on their faces. It's you. Qin Chen frowned. It was actually the two young men he saw at the treasure pavilion last time. One seemed to be a disciple of the Ge family, and the other seemed to be the young master of the White Sword sect. The two ridiculed him at the treasure pavilion, and were eventually slapped in the face by him, making him extremely embarrassed. Are they here to get revenge now? What do you want to do? This is the royal capital. And Qin Chen shouted coldly, his face showing disdain. These people must have been blinded by hatred, daring to cause trouble in the royal capital. Ha ha. The royal capital, so what if it's the royal capital? Ji Zhou and Lian Peng couldn't help but laugh. This Qin Chen is too funny. What are their identities? One is a disciple of the Ge family, and the other is the young master of the White Sword sect. If they openly killed someone in the royal capital, there might be trouble, but just beating Qin Chen up, not killing him, what could happen? Even if Qin Chen sued them in the court, they would have the ability to handle it. Enough nonsense. Qin Chen, you embarrassed us last time. Today, don't even think about having a good time. Grinning, Lian Peng and Ji Zhou waved their hands behind them and said ferociously, beat him up for me. Yes. Young master. Yes. Young sect leader. 6 or 7 guards stepped forward, surrounding Qin Chen in the middle. Be careful, everyone. This guy is quite capable. Keep a close watch on him and don't let him escape. Ji Zhou reminded them. Last time at the treasure pavilion, Qin Chen kicked him away with one foot. He was a mid-stage Earth Realm martial artist and knew that Qin Chen couldn't be judged by his age, so he reminded them. Young master, don't worry. He's just a little brat. With us here, this kid won't be able to fly away even if he had wings. A burly man twisted his fist and grinned hideously. It was a joke. If they let a teenager escape with so many of them around, how would they ever show their faces again? Brother Ge, you're overthinking it. Qin Feng insulted him so badly today, yet this kid didn't even dare to show up. What ability could he possibly have? If he were truly capable, he wouldn't have avoided Qin Feng's challenge. Lian Peng took out a folding fan and actually started fanning himself. He could already foresee Qin Chen's miserable fate. Ji Zhou was stunned and also felt that he was making a big deal out of nothing. Thinking about it, it was true. If Qin Chen were truly capable, how could he not have accepted Qin Feng's challenge today? You had to know that Qin Feng had made a boastful statement, offering to let Qin Chen use both hands. Under such circumstances, Qin Chen still didn't dare to show up and ran outside to hide for the whole day, which showed how cowardly this person was. I was overthinking it. But we still need to be careful. It would be too much of a loss if this kid ran away. We have to play with such prey properly. Ji Zhou also laughed. The reason he was kicked away by Qin Chen last time must have been because he was too careless and unprepared. You guys watch around. Let me beat this kid down first. A cold snort was heard, and the burly man walked out. He was the captain of the guards among Ge family's guards. His palm was like a fan, and he punched Qin Chen. Boom! The force swept through, and the air exploded. With one move, he displayed extremely terrifying cultivation, actually a late-stage peak Earth Realm martial artist. This person could serve as the captain of the Ge family's guards, so his ability was extraordinary. His body was full of knotted muscles, indicating that he had great strength. In addition to his late-stage peak Earth Realm cultivation, even other late-stage peak Earth Realm martial artists could not easily withstand this punch. He actually dares to attack. He's simply courting death. Qin Chen's pupils constricted. He didn't expect this group of people to attack as soon as they said they would, and so openly in the royal capital, without any concealment. Were they really not afraid of the Great Qi Kingdom's laws? A late-stage peak Earth Realm martial artist was almost on par with Qin Yong. If it were a few days ago, even if Qin Chen could subdue the opponent, he would have to expend a lot of energy. But today, after a huge breakthrough in the Pill Pavilion, his physical strength had reached 50 horsepowers, and his cultivation had broken through to the Earth Realm. A late-stage peak Earth realm was nothing. With a cold smile, Qin Chen didn't move his feet and gently punched out. Ha! Isn't this guy courting death? Guangji's cultivation is as high as the late-stage peak Earth realm. He also cultivates the low-level Xuan-ranked Mad Lion Furious Fist. Last time, a martial artist who was also at the late-stage peak Earth realm fought Guangji, and his arm was shattered by one punch. This kid actually wants to exchange punches with Guangji. Isn't this overestimating himself? Ha ha ha. I heard that this kid was the first in the Sky Star Academy's year-end exam. He's probably been praised for too long and doesn't know his own weight. Seeing Qin Chen also throwing a punch, a group of guards and experts all sneered. In terms of fist power, Guangji was almost the strongest one among so many people. Even they had to avoid Guangji. A 15 or 16-year-old kid wants to fight head-on, isn't he fearless because of his ignorance? Everyone could already imagine the next scene. It must be that this kid's bones were broken by Guangji, and he would lie on the ground like a dog. Amidst everyone's laughter, Qin Chen's fist and Guangji's fist finally collided. Bang! A roar like a mountain collision came. Guangji originally had the same thought as everyone else, with a grin on his face. He was even thinking about whether to reduce his strength later. After all, Qin Chen was the grandson of the Prince of Dingwu. Even if he wanted to flatter young Master Ji Zhou, he couldn't kill the Prince of Dingwu's grandson with one punch. But when the two people's fists collided, Guangji's face suddenly changed. AOW. A scream like killing a pig resounded in the alley. Guangji's face was distorted, and his facial features were instantly squeezed together. The sound of bones breaking rang out, and Guangji's entire arm was twisted into a ball like being twisted into a hemp flower. At the same time, he flew backward heavily, hitting the wall behind him, almost smashing a big hole in the wall, and spitting out blood. Silence. Dead silence. Everyone stared blankly at this scene. Completely frightened. What's going on? Shouldn't the script be that Qin Chen's arm was shattered by a punch and he flew out? Why was it completely reversed? Ji Zhou and Lian Peng looked dull, and they didn't even know that the folding fan in their hands had fallen to the ground. Who could tell him what exactly happened? Guangji. Are you all right? After a while, a few guards finally reacted. One of them rushed up and helped Guangji up. The opponent is tough, be careful. Guangji rubbed his teeth in pain, his face turned green, and he kept sucking in cold air. With this punch, his right arm was considered useless. Even if it was repaired in the future, it would be difficult to have the previous cultivation. The other party's attack was simply too ruthless. Damn it! His face was distorted, and his eyes were full of hatred. Qin Chen was also shocked by his own punch. The power of the undying holy body greatly exceeded his expectations. After this punch, his body was not damaged at all, and nothing happened. You two want to teach me a lesson. Temporarily having no time to observe his physical condition, Qin Chen took a step forward and stared at Ji Zhou and Lian Peng. Step, step, step. The two people's faces turned pale, and they retreated again and again, almost falling to the ground. But after reacting, their faces simultaneously revealed shame and anger. There were so many people on their side, but they were frightened by Qin Chen alone. If this spread out, how would they ever show their faces in the royal capital again? Go, everyone, go together and teach him a lesson. With a wave of his hand, Ji Zhou roared angrily. Yes, go together. Lian Peng also shouted angrily, Steward Zhu, don't hold back. There are so many of us here, what kind of waves can a kid stir up? Go together and see what abilities he has. The remaining martial artists roared one after another, and all of them pounced on him in an instant. Clang clang clang. Some martial artists even drew out the battle knives from their waists, and the knife energy swept in like a wave. Boom. Among them, the most terrifying one was a middle-aged man wearing a green robe. This person had sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes, and his aura was extraordinary. He stood behind the crowd and did not attack immediately, but released a terrifying aura. That astonishing Xuan Qi, like a mountain or a peak, profound as the sea, even more terrifying than the previous Guangji, was precisely the Zhu director that Lian Peng spoke of, also a master sent by White Sword Sect to protect Lian Peng. The aura on this person was extremely terrifying, having already reached the pinnacle of the late stage of the Earth realm, and even faintly carried a trace of the heavenly realm within it. He was extremely sinister, hiding behind the crowd, like a venomous snake, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Qin Chen's previous punch made him very wary, and he did not dare to act rashly, but instead looked for an opportunity to find the most foolproof chance. At this moment, 5 or 6 Earthrealm experts had already arrived in front of Qin Chen at the same time. Die. Lie down for me. And hit. Various blade lights, fist shadows, and palm winds came overwhelmingly, surrounding Qin Chen tightly, leaving almost no gaps. It seemed that no matter how Qin Chen dodged, it would be impossible to avoid all the attacks. I'm too lazy to dodge, I might as well test the power of the undying saint body. And feeling the violent attacks around him, Qin Chen's eyes flashed. These attacks seemed dense, but with Qin Chen's eyesight, he could still see many loopholes at a glance. If he wanted to dodge, he would have a chance to dodge completely. It was just that, having just felt the power of the undying saint body, he didn't want to dodge at all, but wanted to take the opportunity to test the power of the undying saint body. With a leap, Qin Chen avoided 2 blade lights, his body neither dodging nor evading, instantly bearing the brunt of the remaining fist shadows and palm winds. Bang bang bang. The sound of hitting a sandbag rang out, and the fists of several warriors all slammed into various parts of Qin Chen's body. Hit. The faces of these people all showed ecstasy. Being hit so solidly by them, even a late-stage Earth Realm expert would be seriously injured. Not to mention a young man like Qin Chen. But before the ecstasy in their hearts could settle down, they saw Qin Chen, as if nothing had happened, rushing up again. Is this your attack? It's too weak. Did you not eat breakfast this morning? Or did you expend too much energy on women's bellies yesterday? And while rushing up, Qin Chen also teased. Several people were dumbfounded, and then their faces flushed red, almost dripping with blood. Scolding them for expending too much energy on women. This was simply naked mockery, clearly mocking them for being useless. Roar. With a roar, several people rushed up frantically. Various fist techniques and palm techniques were poured down on Qin Chen like crazy, like a violent storm. Bang bang bang. To everyone's shock, except for the few blade attacks that Qin Chen didn't resist head-on, Qin Chen actually didn't dodge or evade the remaining attacks, and took them all with his body. Then they saw that Qin Chen was still standing there as if nothing had happened, his face not red, his breathing not labored, as if he had only done a warm-up exercise. Damn it! How is this possible? Several warriors widened their eyes, almost going crazy. Is this guy made of iron? How can he be so resistant to beatings? Even if it was made of iron, it would have been smashed into pieces under the repeated attacks of so many of them, right? But now, it's just like scratching an itch, it's really boring. And Qin Chen shook his head, looking disappointed. Hearing this, several warriors staggered even more, almost crying. Big brother, we've used all our strength, but you actually said we were scratching an itch. Can't you give us some face? How would they know that the undying saint body was too strong, and their attacks had not even broken through the defense of the undying saint body? How could Qin Chen be satisfied when he wanted to test the true power of the undying saint body? Forget it. Let's end it. And, too lazy to continue testing, Qin Chen jumped into the middle of several people, his palms transforming into phantoms, slapping out in all directions. So fast. Several people only had time to see a shadow flash, and then they were slammed hard in the chest by a huge force. Only to hear "Oh ouch mommy," various exclamations sounded at the same time, and several warriors were instantly blasted out, each spitting blood and falling into a rolling gourd. Don't be rampant. Just then, that zoo director finally moved. Swoosh. Like a phantom, he swept towards Qin Chen. Clang. At the same time, the long sword at his waist was suddenly unsheathed, and with an astonishing whistling sound, it suddenly stabbed towards Qin Chen's chest. Fast. Too fast. This zoo director is indeed a master of the White Sword Sect. With a single sword strike, Everyone only had time to see a flash of white light, followed by an astonishing whistling sound, and then the longsword had already reached a foot away from Qin Chen's chest. Lie down for me. The sword light flickered, and Director Zhu smiled grimly. What he seized was the moment when Qin Chen knocked the other warriors away and his true energy was exhausted. The purpose was to not give Qin Chen any chance to react. It's our white sword sect's sword technique, white horse passing through a gap. This set of sword techniques is a mid-level Xuan level sword technique. When a sword is slashed out, it's like a white horse passing through a gap. The enemy doesn't even have time to react before their head falls to the ground. And this kid will undoubtedly die. When this sword falls, a big hole will immediately appear in his body. And with Director Zhu's cultivation, even a heavenly level expert may not be able to block this sword. Several warriors from the White Sword sect showed ecstasy. Lian Peng, who had been nervous when he saw Qin Chen killing everyone, breathed a sigh of relief. White horse passing through a gap is an extremely powerful sword move of the White Sword sect, which emphasizes a fast word. Especially combined with Zhu Director's bloodline power, it can find the enemy's weakness in an instant and give a fatal blow. With this sword, Qin Chen will either die or be crippled, and will no longer have any power to resist. White horse passing through a gap. And Qin Chen sneered. If it were an ordinary person, they might not be able to take it. But who is he? The moment the opponent made a move, Qin Chen had already seen through the trajectory of the sword move. Just when everyone thought Qin Chen was bound to be injured, a phantom flashed, and the white sword light suddenly stopped in midair, motionless, only an inch away from Qin Chen's chest. And what was holding it was Qin Chen's two fingers. Scared. Everyone was stunned, their eyeballs almost exploding. This is okay. Clamping a flying sword with your fingers, isn't this a dream? Such a slow sword move is also called white horse passing through a gap. Are you kidding me? And Qin Chen said with a mocking face, sneering. You and Director Zhu's face turned red, and he trembled with anger. Boy, don't be rampant. It's too arrogant to clamp my sword with your fingers. Break it for me. With an angry roar, Director Zhu twisted the long sword with all his might, his face full of ferocity. Clamping the long sword with his fingers is too arrogant. As long as he slashes hard, the opponent's fingers will be cut off. He could already imagine the scene of Qin Chen's fingers flying away, blood spurting wildly, and wailing in pain. But reality instantly poured a basin of cold water on him. With a twist, the long sword in his hand didn't move at all. It was as if it were cast in iron. How could this be? Steward Zhu was stunned, then roared again, break it for me. This time, his face was flushed red, and he used every ounce of strength he had. But the long sword remained motionless. He was like an ant trying to shake a tree. No matter how hard he tried, the long sword in his hand wouldn't budge, as if it were nailed to the other's hand. Damn it, die. With a roar, Steward Zhu abandoned his long sword and lunged at Qin Chen with both hands forming claws. Boom. Terrifying energy transformed into a vast ocean, engulfing Qin Chen. Good. Lian Peng, who had previously looked terrified, immediately revealed ecstasy. But before his ecstasy could settle, he heard Steward Zhu's miserable scream, ah. From within the violent energy, a flying leg suddenly kicked out, instantly striking Steward Zhu's crotch. There was a poof sound, like an egg cracking, and Steward Zhu flew backward, heavily crashing to the ground, his entire body curled up like a shrimp, wailing in pain. He clutched his crotch, his expression twisted. The intense screams made every man feel a chill down below, and they couldn't help but feel their hair stand on end. Looking around, besides Ji Zhou and Lian Peng, there was no one else standing in the entire alley. How could this be? The two muttered, unable to believe everything before their eyes. Wasn't Qin Chen just graduating from Tianxing Academy? Wasn't he just a Tier 1 warrior? Wasn't he even afraid to accept Qin Feng's challenge? How could he suddenly? The two felt as if their world had collapsed, completely different from what they had imagined. Then, they felt an icy gaze fall upon them. Looking up, they saw Qin Chen's chilling eyes staring at them, and they trembled in fear, unable to even stand steadily. Why you? What do you want to do? Lian Peng and Ji Zhou cried out in fear, no longer having the arrogance they had at the beginning. What do you think I want to do? You two brought people here to surround me, and even wanted to beat me up badly. Now, you're asking me what I want to do. Qin Chen walked forward slowly, sneering. You stop right there. Do you know who I am? I'm a direct descendant of the GE family. If you touch me, the GE family will definitely not let you off easily. You've already been expelled from the Qin family, and you're already in a precarious situation. If you offend my GE family, your situation will definitely become even more dangerous. Ji Zhou said hurriedly. That's right, Qin Chen, don't be confused. I'm the young master of Beijian sect. If you touch me, the consequences of my Beijian sect's anger will be very serious. Lian Peng also spoke with a stern face but a weak heart, trying to embolden himself. Threaten me, do I, Qin Chen, look like the kind of person who can be threatened? Qin Chen smiled, his eyes turning cold. You, Lian Peng and Ji Zhou were so frightened that their souls almost left their bodies. They exchanged a glance and suddenly turned around and ran away. Whoosh, whoosh. The two's faces were flushed red, and they used every ounce of strength they had, wishing they could immediately rush out of the alley and run to the street. As long as they reached the street, at least this was the bustling downtown area of the royal capital. Surely Qin Chen wouldn't dare to attack them in public, right? Seeing the two running away, Qin Chen was stunned, speechless. Ji Zhou and Lian Peng were, after all, famous geniuses of the Darky Kingdom, Tier 4 warriors in their early 20s. Yet, they actually fled without a fight. Can you escape? Shaking his head speechlessly, Qin Chen's figure flickered and suddenly disappeared from the spot. The next moment, he suddenly arrived beside Ji Zhou and Lian Peng. Mommy. Ji Zhou and Lian Peng, who were running away frantically, were so frightened that their souls left their bodies. How could this kid be so fast? Then, they felt a huge force attacking. Bang! Bang! Their backs ached. And they fell headfirst to the ground, their teeth broken and their faces covered in blood. Qin Chen, this is the royal capital. Do you want to disregard the laws of the Darky Kingdom? Ji Zhou struggled to get up, shouting in panic. The sides of his mouth, where his teeth had been knocked out, were leaking air, and he couldn't even speak clearly. Hey, what if I beat you up? Does the Darky Kingdom's ruler think he can kill me? Moreover, you two attacked first. I'm just defending myself. If there's a punishment, it should be you two, right? Qin Chen smiled. They were very arrogant just now. Qin Chen smiled, but Ji Zhou and Lian Peng wanted to cry. They were so confident and fearless before, but they didn't expect retribution to come so quickly. If Qin Chen really beat him up badly, even if they complained to the court, there wouldn't be any results. Not to mention that they attacked first, just the fact that Qin Chen was said to be favored by King Kang and the dean of Qianxing Academy meant that nothing would happen. Just as they were thinking. Bang! Qin Chen kicked Lian Peng in the face, and his face immediately plowed across the ground, covered in blood, a shocking sight. My face. Lian Peng wanted to cry but had no tears. His face was ruined this time. How would he face people in the future? Crack. Without giving him time to feel sad, one of Qin Chen's feet stepped on half of his face. If you want to attack me, you have to consider this outcome. Applying a little force, squeezing half of Lian Peng's face into the ground, Qin Chen's expression was indifferent. He didn't have time to deal with challenges from Qin Feng or anything like that, but if others came looking for trouble, then don't blame him for being merciless. If he hadn't just broken through, surrounded by so many people, he might have been the one lying on the ground. At that time, his end wouldn't be much better than Lian Peng's. Thinking of this, the coldness in Qin Chen's eyes deepened, and a murderous aura emanated from his body. He just wanted to cultivate in peace, live a stable life, and then, when he was strong enough, go and take revenge on Shangguan Xier and Feng Xiaoyu. Why were there always so many clowns coming to affect him? Wait. Qin Chen, wait. Feeling the murderous intent on Qin Chen's body, Lian Peng was so frightened that he almost wet his pants. He had no doubt that if he didn't beg for mercy, Qin Chen, in his rage, would kill him instantly. Qin Chen, it's useless to kill me. There's no deep hatred between us. We can talk. Lian Peng looked terrified. Only now did he suddenly realize what kind of character he was provoking. That was the guy who directly crippled Qin Fen, the direct descendant of the Qin family, in the Tianxing Academy's year-end exam. Besides that, he also beat up Li Qingfeng, the son of Marquis Wuan, during the competition. Even more terrifying was that Qin Yong, the Qin family's steward, colluded with Shadow Kill Tower assassins to assassinate this person, but the next day, they all died violently, without a single survivor. This kind of ruthless person, he even dared to cripple his second brother. What else couldn't he do? Oh, you've already attacked me. What's there to talk about? Qin Chen sneered. I. Lian Peng trembled all over, suddenly thinking of something. His eyes lit up, and he hurriedly took out various things from his body. I'll use these things to redeem my life. These things. Qin Chen glanced over them. They were all silver notes and the like, roughly estimated to be worth more than 10,000 silver coins. Hey. Qin Chen smiled faintly, put away these things, and then sneered. You really have wishful thinking. Even if you don't take these things out, they belong to my spoils. You want to redeem yourself with my own things. Do you think it's reasonable? Lian Peng was stunned. He didn't expect Qin Chen to be so shameless. However, after being reminded by Lian Peng, Qin Chen's heart also moved. This Lian Peng and Ji Zhou really don't have any deep hatred with him. In this royal capital, he can't directly kill these two people. After all, the Ji family and Bai Janmen seem to have quite a lot of power. If he kills the two of them, and the Ji family and Bai Janmen are furious, he is not afraid at all, but he will put his mother in danger. If you want to live, it's not impossible. It's very simple, redeem yourself with money. How much do you want? Lian Peng breathed a sigh of relief. As long as he can buy it with money, it's not a problem. Compared with life, what is money? His Bai Janmen is a big family, and he can still take out some wealth. Well, not much, just 5 million. Qin Chen thought for a while and said. What? Lian Peng's originally relaxed face collapsed instantly, and his eyes widened. Damn it, 5 million, why don't you just rob a bank? Do you know what 5 million is? Bai Janmen is rich, but 5 million is almost equivalent to several years of Bai Janmen's income. This is too much to ask for, isn't it? Qin Chen, how could I have so much money on me? Even if you beat me to death, I don't have it, and I'm not worth that much money at all. Lian Peng was about to cry. No need to doubt, you are the young master of Bai Janmen. I heard that your Bai Janmen is one of the best sects in my darky country. As the young master of Bai Janmen, you will inherit the mantle of Bai Janmen in the future. The dignified future master of Bai Janmen, 5 million silver coins is nothing. Qin Chen comforted. PFFT. Lian Peng spat out a mouthful of old blood, his eyes filled with tears. Big brother, are you comforting me or hurting me? If my father knows that he owes 5 million outside, let alone Qin Chen, his father will beat him to death. Young Master Chen, Brother Chen, Grandpa Chen, I really don't have that much money on me. You don't need to give it now. Like this, you first write an IOU, and I will personally come to collect it then. Qin Chen took out paper and pen from nowhere, quickly wrote an IOU, and handed it to Lian Peng. Come, sign and put your handprint on it. What else could Lian Peng do at this time? Looking at the number of 5 million, his eyes were filled with tears, and he signed the debt. Ji Zhou, as the direct son of the Ji family, wouldn't it be too disrespectful to you if I underestimated your worth? Like this, you will be the same as Lian Peng, 5 million. Writing another IOU, Qin Chen came to Ji Zhou. Ji Zhou showed a smile that was uglier than crying. How can I compare with young Master Lian? 5 million, my dad will break his legs. Hey, you underestimate yourself too much. Qin Chen couldn't help shaking his head, patted him on the shoulder and encouraged him. You are the direct son of the Ge family, the future head of the Ge family. The Ge family is a big family in my darky country, and its business is all over the country. It's very prosperous. If your worth is not as good as Lian Peng, doesn't it mean that the Ge family is not as good as Bai Janmen? It's too damaging to your GE family's prestige. 5 million is not much, not much. You have to have confidence in yourself. Have confidence in your sister, it's not the same thing at all. GE Joe wailed in his heart, but at this time he had no choice but to sign the IOU with humiliation. As for you little characters, forget it, just treat it as buy one get 10 free. After looting the wealth of GE Joe, Elder Zhu and other warriors, Qin Chen left contentedly. Watching Qin Chen swagger away, GE Joe and others took a long time to recover, and then hummed and crawled up. Young master, do we want to report to the authorities? A guard who didn't know how to read faces came up. Report your sister. Kicking the guard away, GE Joe trembled with anger. What a pig brain. Is it useful to report this kind of thing to the authorities? Is it because you think your young master has not lost enough face, and you want everyone in the royal capital to know? This Qin Chen is too hateful, it's killing me. On the other side, Lian Peng was also helped up. His face was terrible, and his eyes were full of anger. Young sect master, why don't we inform the sect master and let him send experts to vent your anger for you, young sect master? A Bai Janman warrior suggested. Pa. A slap was slapped on his face. Inform the sect master, do you use your brain? This time I finally got my father to agree to let me come to the royal capital. If he knows about this, I won't be able to leave Bai Janman in the future. Are you helping me or hurting me? But, young master, you wrote an IOU. If the Qin Chen comes to your door, the sect master will still know. The warrior covered his face aggrievedly. Come to my door. He can come to my door if he has the ability. Lian Peng sneered. It's not that easy to get money from my Bai Janman. If he really dares to go to my Bai Janman, just wait to never return. He sneered, and when he moved his wound, he immediately grinned and screamed, ouch. GE Joe also sneered aside. The so-called IOU is useless. It's okay if Qin Chen doesn't come. If he really dares to come to the GE family, just wait to die. The two then cursed a few more words, and finally parted ways depressed. Qin Chen returned to the mansion. It was almost late at night. Zhao Li was still guarding outside the mansion seriously. When he saw Qin Chen coming back, he breathed a sigh of relief. Young Master Chen, you're finally back. Zhao Li hurried forward and saluted respectfully. Commander Zhao, you're too polite. Is there anything wrong at home today? It's okay. Some inexplicable people came in the afternoon, but I drove them back and didn't disturb Miss Qin. Zhao Li smiled. Then thank you, Commander Zhao. Young Master Chen, you're too polite. Go back quickly, otherwise Miss Qin will probably worry again. Zhao Li said with a smile. Watching Qin Chen enter the mansion, Zhao Li turned around and shouted coldly to his subordinates, brothers, cheer up and watch carefully when patrolling at night. Yes, Commander Zhao. After learning that Zhao Li had broken through to the heavenly rank, his group of city guards also suddenly became motivated and enthusiastic. When should they perform if not at this time? Once Commander Zhao is promoted in the future, there will definitely be benefits for the group of subordinates. Watching his subordinates leave, Zhao Li looked at Qin Chen's back again, and was slightly puzzled in his heart. I haven't seen him for a day, and the aura on young Master Chen's body seems to be even more terrifying. In front of him, I actually have a feeling of being unable to breathe. Strange. Shaking his head, Zhao Li turned and left. In the mansion. Seeing that Qin Chen came back so late today, Qin Yuqi was worried for another day. After complaining a few words, she suddenly focused her eyes. Chenair, have you broken through? Qin Yuqi looked shocked. Mother, how did you see through me? Qin Chen was taken aback. You should know that the 9-star divine emperor art he cultivates is extremely restrained. As long as his true essence isn't released, even martial artists with stronger cultivation than him wouldn't be able to see through it. Even Zhao Li couldn't see through it just now. Who would have thought that Qin Yuqi would see through it at a glance? A mother knows her son best. The aura on your body is completely different compared to this morning. You can deceive others, but how can you deceive your mother? Qin Yuqi said with a wry smile, didn't I tell you not to break through before entering the blood spirit pool? Mother, don't worry, your son didn't break through rashly. Although the blood spirit pool can enhance a martial artist's physical body, my physical body has already reached the pinnacle of the human realm, so there's no need to focus on that. As for talent, the higher my cultivation, the greater the improvement the blood spirit pool will have on my talent. It will only be beneficial and not harmful. The pinnacle of the human realm. Qin Yuqi sighed. Mother watched your competition at the year-end assessment. Although your strength is very strong, you're actually still quite far from the pinnacle of the human realm. Oh well, since you've already broken through, then Mother won't say much more. You'll be leaving for the blood spirit pool in 2 days. Remember what Mother said, in the blood spirit pool, you can temper your bloodline. I heard that the blood spirit pool also has a great effect on improving bloodlines, remember that. Your son remembers. Qin Chen smiled. There were some things he couldn't conveniently tell Qin Yuqi. After all, Qin Yuqi wasn't a cultivator, and she wouldn't understand many things even if he told her. After eating the warm dinner that Qin Yuqi had prepared long ago, Qin Chen returned to his room. Too many things had happened today, making Qin Chen feel somewhat tired. After resting slightly, he began to count the wealth he had plundered from Ge Zhou and the others. It had to be said that Ge Zhou and his group were truly wealthy. After counting, Qin Chen discovered that he had plundered a full 1,000,000 silver coins worth of wealth, which was simply a huge sum. But after thinking about it, he suddenly understood. After all, that Guang Ji and Deacon Zhu were both late-stage peak Earth Realm experts. Especially that Deacon Zhu, who could be considered an expert of White Sword Sect, even carried a storage ring with him. It wasn't particularly surprising to plunder over 1,000,000. I'm not short of money right now, let's consolidate my cultivation first. Having just broken through, Qin Chen didn't dare to be careless, and immediately cultivated cross-legged in his room. Qin Chen didn't know that while he was cultivating at home, the Qin family was extremely depressed. In Zhao Feng's room, Qin Feng had a gloomy face. Being exposed to the scorching sun all day, if it wasn't for his strong true essence, he would probably have been roasted into cooked meat. I didn't expect Qin Chen to be scolded like that, yet he still wouldn't agree to the challenge, preferring to be a shrinking turtle. What a nuisance, Zhao Feng gritted her teeth. She originally thought that with so many rumors outside, no matter how tolerant Qin Chen was, he was still a young man full of vigor. On a whim, he might have rushed to the life and death stage. Who would have expected that this guy would be so tolerant, actually not showing up all day, causing Zhao Feng and the others' efforts to be in vain, making them so depressed that they were about to vomit blood. Big brother, why don't you challenge him again tomorrow? I don't believe that if we keep challenging him, this guy will have the face not to come out. Qin Fen gritted his teeth. He thought he could see a good show, but he didn't even see a fart, causing great damage to his soul. Shaking his head, Qin Feng's eyes were solemn. It's useless. Since he didn't show up today, it means he doesn't want to accept the challenge at all. For such a person, no matter how much we spread rumors, he will shrink his head like a turtle and not show his face at all. Then are we just going to let it go? Qin Fen became more and more angry. Let it go. Qin Feng suddenly smiled, his eyes cold. How is that possible? The prey that I, Qin Feng, have set my sights on has never escaped. But, Qin Feng paused for a moment, and continued, there are still 2 days until the day to go to the blood spirit pool. Currently, the most important thing for me is to strive to win first place in the Northwest 5 Nations competition, so I have to prepare some things these 2 days. I don't have that much time to waste with this guy. In that case, this kid is getting off easy, letting him enjoy himself for a few more days. Qin Fen gritted his teeth. He couldn't wait to see Qin Chen unlucky now. Let him off easy. Qin Feng smiled grimly. Fen Dai, you don't need to be depressed, you should be happy instead. If that Qin Chen accepted the challenge, in the capital, perhaps I would only cripple him, making him unable to take care of himself for the rest of his life. But now that he doesn't accept the challenge and insists on going to the blood spirit pool, the demon ancestor mountain range is full of dangers, anything can happen, such as being killed by a demon beast, then, no one will say anything. Ha ha, good. That's good. Qin Fen excitedly slapped his thigh. Big brother, then I'll wait for your good news. Ha ha ha. In the room, Zhao Feng and her two sons all smiled sinisterly. In the corner, a bald black cat trembled in fear. It knew that whenever its master laughed like this, something cruel would happen. In the next 2 days, the capital became calm instead. Whether it was the Qin family, Heavenly Star Academy, or Can Royal Mansion, they all fell into silence, as if nothing had happened. During these 2 days, Qin Chen was in secluded cultivation. Having just broken through to the Earth realm, he still needed to consolidate his own cultivation. Along the way, Lin Tian, Zhang Ying, and Qin Ying had all come to Qin Chen's place, and they all breathed a sigh of relief after learning that Qin Chen was fine. Knowing that Qin Chen was busy, they didn't disturb him too much and left quickly. Just like that, 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. Finally, the day to go to the blood spirit pool arrived. Dong, dong, dong. Early in the morning, the door of Qin Chen's house was knocked. Opening the door, he saw a team of soldiers in armor standing at the door. Are you Qin Chen? I am Gang Lai, the deputy commander of the Great Qi Kingdom's Imperial Guards, under the command of Spiritual Marshal King, to come and take you to the palace. The leader, dressed in iron armor, had a kind of iron-blooded temperament that only soldiers have. Chenair, be careful on the way. Qin Yuqi had already prepared things for Qin Chen, and was now standing at the door, with a face full of concern, and couldn't help but hug Qin Chen in her arms. Feeling his mother's warm skin, smelling the faint fragrance, and the strong love, Qin Chen's eyes turned red. Mother, don't worry, your son will be fine. Commander Zhao Li, please protect this place while I'm away. Qin Chen was always afraid that his mother would be framed by Zhao Feng after he left, and couldn't help but instruct Zhao Li. Young Master Chen, don't worry, as long as I, Zhao Li, am here, Miss Qin will not lose a single hair. Zhao Li's eyes were firm. Good. I won't mistreat you when the time comes, Qin Chen said solemnly. He had seen Zhao Li's performance these days. If this person was truly loyal, he wouldn't mind giving him another hand. After all, among the many Heaven Realm martial artists, Zhao Li's talent could be considered good. Thank you, Master Chen. It's my honor, Zhao Li, to serve you, and I ask for nothing in return. Hearing this, Zhao Li trembled with excitement. The reason he diligently guarded Qin Chen and Qin Yuqi wasn't for any reward, but to repay Qin Chen's kindness and to willingly follow him. But in these days, although Qin Chen was very polite to him, it was just politeness. They hadn't reached the kind of relationship where he could follow him. But now, Qin Chen actually said such a thing, and Zhao Li immediately felt that his struggle had a purpose. He knew Qin Chen's ability very well, being able to easily cure stubborn ailments that many masters in the entire royal capital couldn't cure. His future was bound to be limitless, and even the Great Qi Kingdom might not be able to accommodate such a true dragon. Qin Chen smiled and patted Zhao Li's shoulder. Commander Zhao Li, you don't need to be like this. No. Zhao Li shook his head and said solemnly, I owe everything I have today to you, Master Chen. My life is yours, Master Chen. Rest assured, if anyone dares to harm Miss Qin, they'll have to step over my dead body, Zhao Li. Zhao Li's performance surprised Gang Lai, the deputy commander of the Imperial Guards, who frowned at Zhao Li. Shouldn't this be a deputy commander of the city guards? How could a young man's casual remark make him so excited? Saying that he owes everything he has today to Master Chen, humph, as a city guard, everything he has should be given by His Majesty. Swearing allegiance to His Majesty should be what he should do. Filled with dissatisfaction, Gang Lai looked at Qin Chen with displeasure. Let's go. After saying this indifferently, Gang Lai turned and walked forward. Mother, I'm leaving. After saying goodbye to his mother, Qin Chen followed closely behind. Master Chen, Zhao Li is here, awaiting your return. Behind him, Zhao Li's deep voice came, with a terrifying aura rising into the sky, turning into a long howl that lingered for a long time. This is Gang Lai, the leading deputy commander, paused, turned his head in shock, and stared at Zhao Li at the entrance of the residence, almost staggering and falling. This deputy commander of the city guards, whom he had previously looked down upon, was actually a peak stage Heavenly Realm initial stage expert. And judging by the momentum, he even had hopes of breaking through to the Heavenly Realm middle stage. How is this possible? You should know that the standards for the Imperial Guards are a whole level higher than those for the City Guards. Yet he, the deputy commander of the Imperial City Guards, was only at the Heavenly Realm initial stage. How could a deputy commander of the City Guards in this poor district of the West City be even stronger than him? Thinking of his previous disdain for the other party, Gang Lai felt like 10,000 grass mud horses were galloping through his heart. Deputy Commander Gang Lai, aren't we leaving? Seeing Gang Lai standing blankly in the street, Qin Chen couldn't help but ask. What's the rush? Are you leading the way, or am I? Recovering from his shock, Gang Lai snorted coldly, his dissatisfaction with Qin Chen growing even stronger. Such an expert should be in a more prominent position, yet he's here as a deputy commander of the city guards in a poor district. Without even thinking, it must be this young man's doing. I don't know what kind of bewitching soup this young man fed the deputy commander of the city guards, that he would listen to such a young man. No. When I return to the Imperial Guards, I must report this matter to the commander. His face grew colder, and Gang Lai led a team of subordinates, striding forward. Qin Chen touched his nose, feeling a little dazed. Did I offend this deputy commander of the Imperial Guards? Why is he suddenly acting like a woman on her period? Too lazy to think about it, Qin Chen followed closely behind. The group traversed the streets, heading towards the Imperial Palace. I heard that this young man is the champion of this year's year-end exam at the Heavenly Star Academy. I want to see what abilities this kid has to enter the blood spirit pool and deceive such an expert into that state. Quickening his pace, Gang Lai whispered to his subordinates, increase the speed. A team of Imperial Guards, moving with the wind, suddenly sped up. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Those who can join the Imperial Guards are all elites selected from various departments in the royal capital. Even the weakest one is at least at the Earth realm. As they sprinted along the road, the buildings on both sides rapidly receded. HMPH, he shouldn't be able to keep up now, right? After running for a while, Gang Lai revealed a cold smile, stopped, and wanted to see where Qin Chen had been left behind. As soon as he turned his head, he saw a face almost touching his, only a foot away, and asked in confusion, Deputy Commander Gang Lai, why aren't you walking? Ah. Gang Lai was so frightened that his whole body trembled, and his heart almost exploded. Why are you so close to me? Roaring, Gang Lai was furious. Doesn't he know that scaring people can scare them to death? Fortunately, he is a heavenly realm expert, and his heart can withstand more than ordinary people. If it were an ordinary person, they would have been scared to death long ago. You were running so fast and suddenly stopped, I couldn't brake in time, so naturally I got this close. Qin Chen frowned. Did this deputy commander Gang Lai take the wrong medicine this morning? Why is his temper so irritable? Gang Lai was speechless and could only snort coldly, then pay attention below. But he was puzzled. How is this Qin Chen so fast? Just now, when they were sprinting, even ordinary Earth realm martial artists might not have been able to keep up, but he, a 15 or 16-year-old boy, was actually able to keep up. Perhaps he has cultivated some kind of lightness technique. As the first in the year-end exam at the Heavenly Star Academy, he should have this ability. Thinking of a possibility, Gang Lai couldn't help but nod in realization. He had underestimated this young man a bit. After all, he is the champion of the year-end exam, and the gold content of this competition is still very high. But no matter how awesome he is, a 15 or 16-year-old boy's true chi is simply not enough. He can keep up for a while, but he definitely can't keep up forever. Speed up and see how long he can keep up. Thinking of this, Gang Lai couldn't help but let go. Let's go. This time, he increased his speed and didn't stop, running all the way. The Great Qi Kingdom's capital is extremely large. It usually takes a lot of time to walk from the West City in the slums to the East City where the Imperial Palace is located. After running for a little less than half an hour, Gang Lai finally stopped. He shouldn't be able to keep up this time, right? A cold smile appeared in his heart, and Gang Lai turned his head, ready to mock him triumphantly, only to see Qin Chen standing behind him, asking in confusion, Deputy Commander Gang Lai, why did you stop again? Are you feeling unwell today? PFFT. Almost spitting out a mouthful of old blood, Gan Lai was almost driven mad. Your sister, you're the one who's unwell, your whole family is unwell. He stared at Qin Chen, truly seeing a ghost. How could this kid run so fast? I don't believe it. Without saying a word, Gan Lai turned around and walked quickly. This time, he didn't bury his head in the road, but walked while secretly looking back. He saw Qin Chen following behind him leisurely, not panting at all, but rather very comfortable and relaxed. On the contrary, his group of subordinates, after such a sprint, were sweating profusely, panting, their tongues almost sticking out, exhausted like dead dogs. A bunch of useless trash. If it weren't for considering Qin Chen's presence, Gan Lai would have already burst into a tirade. He wanted to play around with this Qin Chen, but these bastards were dropping the ball. However, Gan Lai didn't dare to increase his speed any further. If he sped up again, his subordinates would probably fall behind, and even an idiot could see that something was wrong. Cough cough, we're almost at the Imperial City, let's slow down a bit, he said. Deliberately coughing a couple of times, Gan Lai slowed his pace, giving his subordinates time to rest, but he was so frustrated that he wanted to vomit blood, his face turning green. Hee hee. Qin Chen chuckled secretly from behind. How could he not see through Gan Lai's plan? Although he didn't understand why Gan Lai had such an attitude, if he wanted to shake him off, even if Gan Lai unleashed his heavenly level speed, he might not be able to get rid of him. As he was pondering, a luxurious, yet not extravagant, but rather elegant carriage suddenly emerged from a side street. Surrounding the carriage was a team of Imperial guards, wearing the same armor as Gan Lai and his men. It's the Kan Prince's mansion's team. Wu Tao and the others should be receiving Princess Zhao Lingshan of the Kan Prince's mansion. I didn't expect to run into them here, said several of Gan Lai's subordinates behind him, unable to resist speaking. They saw Wu Tao, and Wu Tao naturally saw them as well. Yo! Isn't this Vice Commander Gan Lai? You were going to the West District, how come you're here so quickly? Hee hee, the West District is a good place. The commander sent you there, knowing you have noble identities, Wu Tao said, his tone sarcastic. Wu Tao was a middle-aged man with prominent cheekbones and a pale complexion. As soon as he saw Gan Lai, he spoke in a sarcastic tone. Humph, you better take care of your own business, Gan Lai said, his expression unpleasant. He and Wu Tao were both vice commanders of the Imperial Guards, but they had always been at odds and would occasionally clash. This time, the task of receiving the blood spirit pool candidates was handled by the various vice commanders of their Imperial Guards. As a result, Wu Tao was assigned to the Kan Prince's mansion to receive Princess Zhao Lingshan, while Gan Lai was sent to the impoverished West District to receive Qin Chen. The contrast between the two immediately revealed the differences in status. Back in the Imperial Palace, Gan Lai had already been ridiculed by Wu Tao for a long time. He didn't expect that just now, while focusing on making Qin Chen look bad and constantly increasing his speed, he would actually run into Wu Tao. What bad luck, Gan Lai thought, feeling even more dissatisfied with Qin Chen. If it weren't for Qin Chen, how could they have been ridiculed by Wu Tao like this? Let's go. Lowering his head, Gan Lai endured his displeasure and was about to pass by. Gan Lai, I have Princess Zhao Lingshan here, how dare you try to overtake us? You're getting too bold, aren't you? Wu Tao sneered when he saw this. At this moment, Gan Lai's expression was unsightly, unable to advance or retreat. Zhao Lingshan, you're having it too easy, aren't you? You even have a carriage to ride in. Just then, an abrupt voice rang out, and Qin Chen was seen walking out of the crowd, heading towards Zhao Lingshan's carriage. They were both candidates entering the blood spirit pool, but he was running like crazy, while Zhao Lingshan was doing so well, even having such a comfortable carriage to ride in. Comparing people is really infuriating. No, I have to ride in the carriage too. Halt! You audacious brute! Daring to disturb Princess Lingshan's presence, retreat immediately. Clang clang clang. Before Qin Chen could get close, a series of sword-drawing sounds suddenly rang out, and the Imperial Guards drew their swords, pointing them at Qin Chen. Qin Chen stopped and frowned. Qin Chen, come back quickly. Inside is Princess Lingshan of the Kang Prince's mansion. You can't afford to offend her. Gang Lai was shocked when he saw this. If Qin Chen were to offend Princess Lingshan, that would be troublesome. Even if he didn't offend her, if he were injured by Wu Tao and his men, he wouldn't be able to explain himself. Don't worry, Princess Lingshan and I know each other, you guys can all step back. Qin Chen waved his hand at the Imperial Guards. No, Princess Lingshan. The Imperial Guards almost burst out laughing. As Imperial Guards, they usually had to stay in the Imperial Palace and had no opportunity to go out, so they knew less about what happened in the Imperial City than ordinary people. Although they knew that Qin Chen was the champion of the Heavenly Star Academy's year-end exam, they didn't know much about his other identities. However, judging from the fact that he lived in the West District and wore such simple clothes, he was not someone with any status. The so-called acquaintance was just that he was in the same academy as Princess Zhao Lingshan and had sparred with her. Acquaintance. Does being an acquaintance make you special? You may know Princess Zhao Lingshan, but she may not know you. Retreat immediately, or don't blame us for being impolite. Who knows where this wild kid came from, daring to harass the princess? Several Imperial Guards said mockingly, looking at Qin Chen with disdain. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Someone like you Toad wants to approach Princess Lingshan. Don't think that just because you have some martial arts talent, you're a big deal. This time, it's His Majesty's grace that allows you, a student of the Heavenly Star Academy, to have the opportunity to go to the Blood Spirit Pool. In the past, with just the strength of a newly graduated student, what qualifications would you have to go to the Blood Spirit Pool? What did you say? A cold aura bloomed, and Qin Chen's expression changed. You dare to call me a wild kid? You have some nerve. Yo, you're rebelling. It seems like we need to show you some color, or you'll really think you're someone important. The Imperial Guards were stunned for a moment, then became furious, and were about to step forward with their steel sabers. Wu Tao, why don't you tell your men to stop? If the Spirit Marshal King finds out that you injured a Blood Spirit Pool candidate, you won't be able to handle it. Gang Lai's face changed drastically, and he quickly took a step forward. Gang Lai, why are you so anxious? You're just leading the way for this kid. How come you've become someone else's lackey so quickly? Wu Tao, as a vice commander of the Imperial Guards, knew quite a few things. He also had some understanding of Qin Chen being a member of the Qin family, being expelled from the Qin family, and the grievances between him and Qin Feng. But what did that have to do with him? As long as he could embarrass Gang Lai, this good show would be worth watching. As for injuring Qin Chen, he had his own sense of propriety, and if anything unexpected happened, he would naturally step in to stop it as soon as possible. You. Gang Lai's face flushed red, trembling with anger. Stop. Just as the atmosphere between the two sides was extremely tense and a conflict was about to erupt, a clear voice suddenly rang out. The carriage curtain opened, and a pair of jade legs stepped down from the carriage. A young woman wearing a long silk dress walked out of the carriage. A sword hung at her waist. Her beauty was breathtaking, giving people a sense of heroic spirit and allure, making people's eyes light up. It was Zhao Lingshan. In just half a month, Zhao Lingshan's temperament was even better than before, and her cultivation was even deeper. It was evident that the half-month of seclusion had brought about many changes for her. Princess Lingshan, this kid just said he knew you and wanted to barge into your carriage. He wouldn't listen to our warnings and is simply lawless. A member of the Imperial Guards couldn't help but try to curry favor, looking at Qin Chen with disdain. In his mind, he could already imagine Princess Zhao Lingshan reprimanding Qin Chen. I do know him. Zhao Lingshan looked at Qin Chen, a look of surprise on her face. She originally thought that she had consolidated her cultivation to the peak of the early Earth realm during this period, which was already considered extremely fast progress. But she never expected that the aura on Qin Chen's body had undergone an even more terrifying change compared to the year-end assessment. Although she couldn't tell what level Qin Chen's cultivation had reached, Zhao Lingshan keenly sensed that Qin Chen's strength had become even more terrifying. Princess Lingshan, do you really know him? The faces of several Imperial Guards changed when they heard Zhao Lingshan's words. To dare say these words directly in front of them meant that Princess Lingshan did indeed know this Qin Chen, and their relationship was not bad. It was just that, in the rumors, Princess Lingshan had always been quite cold, so how could she be so amiable with such a poor boy? Princess Lingshan, have you been well? Thank you, King Kang, for the matter of Commander Zhao Li. Qin Chen rubbed his nose. When Qin Yong launched a surprise attack on the mansion that night, they were fortunate to have King Kang send Zhao Li, which allowed him to escape unscathed. Therefore, Qin Chen was quite grateful to King Kang. A trivial matter, not worth mentioning. However, I heard that you cured Commander Zhao Li's chronic illness and helped him break through to the Heaven Realm in one fell swoop. I'm very curious, how exactly did you do it? Commander Zhao Li's injuries were serious, and he has been trapped at the peak of the late Earth realm for so many years. Many alchemist masters in the royal capital have found it difficult to cure, yet you cured him in one go. This is really... Zhao Lingshan asked in confusion, revealing her curiosity. Although she hadn't seen Qin Chen during this period, she had been paying attention to his movements. Whether it was killing Qin Yong or Qin Feng's challenge, Zhao Lingshan knew everything very clearly. Among them, what shocked her the most was Qin Chen's healing of Commander Zhao Li's injuries. Her father, the king, had been trying to find a way to heal Commander Zhao Li's injuries all these years, with the goal of making Commander Zhao Li completely loyal. However, he had not found any way to do so all these years. Who knew that Zhao Li and Qin Chen had only known each other for a few days when news immediately spread that Zhao Li's injuries had been cured and he had broken through to the Heaven Realm in one fell swoop, which greatly shocked King Kang and made him terrified. After that day, King Kang once again solemnly warned Zhao Lingshan that during the Blood Spirit Pool trip, she must establish a good relationship with Qin Chen, as this person's future was limitless. Zhao Lingshan was proud in her heart. Although she was defeated by Qin Chen in the year-end assessment, deep down, she was not convinced and always thought about catching up with Qin Chen and surpassing him one day. However, the events that had occurred in the royal capital made Zhao Lingshan even more curious about Qin Chen. Haha, it's just a small matter, no need to mind it. Qin Chen smiled awkwardly. King Kang was wholeheartedly helping him, but he had poached someone else's corner, which was indeed not very ethical. If you don't want to say, then forget it. Zhao Lingshan shook her head. Listening to the conversation between Qin Chen and Zhao Lingshan, Gang Lai's expression changed drastically, and his pupils shrank sharply. He had been wondering before. Why was a mere deputy commander of the West City Guard so highly cultivated, even more terrifying than him, yet so respectful to a young man? He originally thought that Qin Chen had given Zhao Li some kind of mind-altering drug, but now, after listening, that was not the case at all. That Commander Zhao Li had originally suffered from a hidden illness, and his cultivation had not progressed for many years. Even King Kang was helpless, but this young man had cured him in one fell swoop, which was why he was so respectful to this young man. Hiss. Thinking of this, Gang Lai twitched violently and gasped in a cold breath. No wonder the deputy commander of the city guard was so excited when he heard Qin Chen's words of gratitude. Since this person could cure the other party's hidden illness, allowing him to break through from the peak of the late Earth realm to the peak of the early Heaven realm in one fell swoop, then he also had the ability to allow him to cross from the peak of the early Heaven realm to the mid-stage Heaven realm in one fell swoop. Mid-stage Heaven realm. Gang Lai's heart pounded, his whole body heated up, and his palms sweated. If he could break through from the early Heaven realm to the mid-stage Heaven realm, then his position in the Imperial Guards would be completely different. Would Wu Tao dare to talk to him like that in the future? For a moment, Gang Lai looked at Qin Chen, feeling his mouth dry, his scalp tingling, and even wishing he could slap himself a few times. Gang Lai, Gang Lai, you are really a pig's brain. You have such a master by your side, but instead of trying to curry favor, you are dissatisfied and preparing to embarrass him. Fortunately, the other party's strength is profound and he was not harmed by your bad tricks, otherwise. Gang Lai couldn't help but feel a burst of fear just thinking about it. In the future, he must be more careful, otherwise he wouldn't even know how he died. Gang Lai's heart fluctuated violently, but Qin Chen looked at the carriage in front of him with fiery eyes, his eyes shining, and said, Zhao Lingshan, your carriage is so big. The space inside must be very large, right? Zhao Lingshan was stunned. It's okay, I guess. After hesitating for a moment, Zhao Lingshan said, I'm also tired from walking. Your carriage is so big, it's perfect for us to sit together. Well, didn't King Kang ask me to give you more guidance? This is a good opportunity. After Qin Chen finished speaking, he didn't wait for Zhao Lingshan to agree and went straight forward. Qin Chen, my carriage. Zhao Lingshan's face turned red, and she hurriedly wanted to speak, but Qin Chen didn't wait for her to finish speaking and had already entered the carriage. This. Zhao Lingshan bit her lip, almost going crazy. This girl hasn't even agreed yet. Are you always like this? Princess Lingshan, do you want your subordinate to drive him out? Wu Tao said angrily. The true energy in his body condensed, waiting for Zhao Lingshan's order to attack. This kid, doesn't he take a piss and look at himself? Even if he knows Princess Lingshan and has a good relationship, can they just share a carriage? If word gets out, how will Princess Lingshan face people in the future? Wu Tao had never heard of anyone sharing a carriage with Princess Lingshan. Unexpectedly, before he could rush up, he heard Zhao Lingshan shake her head and say, "Forget it, Commander Wu Tao, let's hurry on our way." After saying that, Zhao Lingshan's face was flushed, and she also entered the carriage. Outside the carriage, Wu Tao and the others were dumbfounded, feeling that their worldviews had collapsed. Zhao Lingshan, you're too comfortable, aren't you? In the carriage, Qin Chen looked at the scene in front of him and said speechlessly to Zhao Lingshan. All he saw in front of him was a snow-white bed, covered with a layer of white fur, surrounded by pink curtains. No wonder it looked so big from the outside. This isn't a carriage at all, it's just a bed on wheels. Luxurious. Too luxurious. Qin Chen shook his head, saying that, but he sat down on the bed exuding an elegant fragrance, letting out a satisfied groan. Ah.